Enter Confidential, episode 5 of Movie Cherry Monday. Except for episode 4 was on a Wednesday and it was mad awkward. But hey, what can you say about it? So yeah, episode 5 of Movie Chair Mondays. We're back on Mondays. All the holiday season stuff's over, and us just being weirdos and figuring out exactly how we want to force each other to watch movies without doing the most research ever, as well as also trying to still make it, customized for each other. But Jay, how are you feeling today?
I've had better fucking weeks, buddy. But I'm still here. I'm alive. Don't look at my face. Don't look at the goddamn bags under my eyes. I'm still fucking here. I slept for fucking like 36 hours straight. So,
That's
like, yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. I got some movies to talk about.
It can only go uphill from where we ended last time. Tato, how you feeling, bud?
So
big facts. I feel pretty good here. I got a lot of movies in over the past couple weeks since we had that delay. Yeah, actually watched some movies for a change. Let's see what happens with that.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I will go first. So essentially how we're kind of going to readjust the show is we're essentially just going to just stay true to the name of Movie Cherry Monday. So we're going to talk about movies that we did first time. And if it's someone like Jay who needs to be forced to watch a movie for the first time, or else just rewatch The Last Jedi or something,
I will
over again. So we'll still do our best to try and obviously I personally have a list. I forgot about it on my Vudu that Jay has of 400 movies that he's never seen. So I'm just gonna start handpicking from there and be like, yo, motherfucker, get to it, as well as start doing reactions. But so I'll go ahead and start. Like Tato said, JPO's joining us after his ASAP that he's finishing up right now. So all of us have a bunch of movies to talk about. So the first one I'm gonna talk about, one of the oldest ones in terms of like 10-day layover, but Air Force One. I didn't talk about that last time, right?
Get off my plane.
Air Force One. I honestly didn't know much about it other than Gary Oldman and Harrison Ford. Going in, I thought it was going to be like alternate dad movie, but like a TNT movie only, where it's like you just watch in the background, watch with your dad, or your dad just watching that, or the James Bond marathon, all those types of things. But like this was actually really good. I was really surprised. Just like the tension was up at all times. My favorite part was when Harrison Ford is he's got the phone on, and then one of the the T's find him, and then they're like, hey, what are you doing? And he like slides in his pocket, and he's like able to still code to the people in the White House or wherever exactly they were, and like signal that, hey, A, it's him, and then B, like he's not okay, but he's technically okay, and going from there. And like it was a lot of fun. I feel like this would be a great double feature with Crimson Tide for like different reasons, but just like the secluded issue area of like back and forth and like the mind games. And I mean there's action in both of them, but like I feel like the mind games definitely play a part in that. And I wrote this in my review. This movie is a banger, and it's still nowhere near as good as Die Hard. That's just how goddamn good Die Hard is. So that just shows that whenever you have the Die Hard on a plane, Die Hard on a boat, Die Hard on a bus, Die Hard for a reason, it's Die Hard on a. So do we practice the thing? Okay,
hear me out. Die Hard in a building.
I think it can be done. Tato, have you seen this?
I have not caught this one, but maybe it will catch up in relation to first time watches I do have.
There you go. And Jay, you talked about it a little bit. Have you seen this?
I has seen this. Secret Tunnel and Boats and Strohs. It's been like 15 years since I've watched this movie, but I mean, if there's anybody on the face of the planet who's down to fight terriers, I'm telling you, it's probably fucking Harrison Ford, dog. I'm just saying that man has more than just a point to him, but like, get off my plane.
I mean,
No,
and
like,
it's present day, so
and Gary
more Nazis, so he needed to upgrade a little bit.
Gary Oldman went through his villain arc for the longest time, dog. Like his villain arc lasted from like the 1980s to like the mid 2000s, and this is peak Gary Oldman. This and The Professional are just peak Gary Oldman, bro.
Yeah. It was one of those like I said, the only things I really knew about this movie was both of them being in it. So the fact that they like lived up to the par was great. Shout out Potters.
What up, Pot Man?
So yeah, Air Force One. It was the first one I talked about. I gave it 4 stars. I really liked it. I don't think it'll ever be like a favorite of all time, so I think it'll just stay at that 4-star mark. But I'll definitely rewatch it at any time. So Tato, if you ever wanted to like watch together, I'd probably be down. We'll go over to Jay. What is the first one that you want to talk about?
The first one I want to talk about isn't necessarily like the one that I watched. Like I've watched this movie before and I've sang its praises, but it had been so long that I'd completely forgotten about it. And it's one of those ones that Tato can talk about as well because he watched it with me because that's what we do. We're boys and we watch movies together. It was it's 2023. If you're afraid of having male friends, don't go on the internet.
No, I'm jealous that you guys only do it at 3 a.m. when I'm already asleep, assholes.
It was not 3 a.m. It was like 6 a.m. your time, you dick. Hector and the Pursuit of Happiness. This is Simon Pegg.
Hector in the Search for Happiness.
Hector in the Search for Happiness.
Fucking Will Smith, fucking
exactly.
everybody.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Except
I don't want you to get slapped. Sorry.
Except his own wife. But yeah, Hector in the Search for Happiness. This is Simon Pegg, a little bit of Stellan skateboard. The Professional himself makes an appearance in this movie. Jean Reno is up in this bitch. But this is Simon Pegg as a therapist who isn't happy in his own day job and who goes off on a search to find what the meaning of happiness is because he's not happy with his smoking hot girlfriend, played by Rosamund Pike, who was also another Cornetto star.
Are we going to the Disables or what?
Yeah, they went to the Disables and
fucked.
But like it's heartwarming because you get to see like he goes to Shanghai, he goes to Nepal, he goes to Africa. There's a whole bunch of this movie that's just absolutely fucking heartwarming. It's not even the music behind it, but just the stories that this man gets from like meeting a drug lord in the middle of Africa to helping a Muslim woman who like had surgery on her brain and is also pregnant. There's just a lot of shit that happens. Oh, fucking there's one other person in this movie that I'm forgetting, and
what year did this come out? I'm trying to get the era.
Like 2016.
Okay.
Like right around there. It was one of those. It was like one of those right after Star Trek, but like post Cornetto. Yeah, Peg. But this movie is absolutely so much fun to just watch. I laughed, I cried during this movie. It's not really hard to get me to do that during a lot of movies, but like this movie touches you. Pause. This movie touches your heart.
Think twice if you're in danger.
Tony Collette and Christopher Plummer.
Thank you. Yes,
you might be thinking of. Yeah.
Yes, Justice for Tony and the man worth all the money in the world also make appearances in this movie, and it's so much fun. Tato can attest to it. This is a fucking 4-star movie for me, hands down. I absolutely enjoy the fuck out of this movie.
There you go, Tato. What are your thoughts? I know you watched it with them.
Yeah, I'll echo his sentiment and add some stuff that we talked about. This is one of those movies that you really take stuff from. Kind of like you just see the message in the movie literally written on the screen in this situation, in this circumstance. And you could take those things and hopefully, use it to better yourself and stuff like that. So I'll add that to the Love Fest Jay already gave it.
All right. And JPO, you didn't put in the chat. Have you seen this?
No, and I love Peg, so it's definitely something I would like to get to.
There you go. I like that. Well, since Tato double teamed this one, we'll jump over to JPO. Just get a good flow. JPO, what's the first movie you want to talk about today? That's first time.
I'll just go to whatever I want.
Whatever you want. There ain't no order.
Sure. No, we'll go to something I think you like. Let's go to One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Cool, baby. All right. What are your thoughts? What did you know going in? I feel like that's important with this.
Legitimately, just I know Nurse Ratchet's fucking not cool because there's that sequel series recently. So I saw the trailer for that. And then just Nicholson, and it's an Oscar nominated movie because I remember actually owning the DVD with like the gold case and still not watching it. So I forgot where I threw this on. It was either Paramount or HBO. Someone has it. HBO, I think.
Well, I mean, I have
Max.
Too, that's fair.
Oh, I might have just done it off yours, and I don't remember. So many different options. No, yeah, just one of those. I don't know why. Just there's a couple things this week that I was just like, all right, let's finally check these off, And it's before the '90s, but yeah, no, I really liked it. Really good. It takes different turns here. The ending really fucking gets you here, but the journey that these guys make, the mental health that's going on in that, all the different verities of that. I knew the water thing was coming sooner or later. I remember hearing, because It's Always Sunny also does a spoof on that.
Wow.
So
You mean there's water in the movie, and that's a significant?
Yeah, so points. If you're asking what
No points.
Guys,
No points.
Never write trivia. You'll never win, guys. Just sorry for writing.
I understood the 4th of July, okay? If anybody should have gotten points, it was me and nobody fucking else.
I tried. Keep going. I'm loving
Nicholson's great in this. And also, too, shout out to really adorable Brad Dourif, who I really kind of only know from cameos and Chucky. Which also too on ASAT from earlier, who plays the stuttering Billy Bibbit, which written before I saw the movie, for the record.
Interesting.
So I
How
knew
do you know he was stuttering then?
It's just a known thing. Just that's like his characteristic that I know from the movie. And probably Wikipedia.
Stutterers.
Sure, why not? And yeah, and he's adorable and really good performance too. Outside of Nicholson, he kind of stole the show. Not stole the show, but he was really good as well. Kind of one of the takeaways.
Another one, you forget Christopher Lloyd's in it, or you never know that's him.
Christopher Lloyd, Danny DeVito is another guy that doesn't have a lot to do, but he's there, in interstitially.
10. No, that you can't rip it in half, and that's not how it fucking works. He's just yelling at it. So much fun, dude. So did it live up to the hype of being a classic, or was it one of those where it's like it was because I know you're not a classic guy, you know what I mean? So like, did it live up to the hype, or is it one of those where it's just better than you expected based on not being an oldies fan, or where does it really?
No, it's weird. As much as we joked that I like 90s and above, I'm often not surprised that I really enjoy something that's older. You know what I mean? So no, I would say it did live up to the hype. And I didn't necessarily think it wouldn't. Just one of those, for whatever reason, I just never got around to it until now. You know what I mean? I'm not going to see it when I'm a young kid. It's R-rated and it's old, and just kind of got lost in the shuffle kind of thing.
And there are no titties in it.
Yeah.
That's a flash. Candy, they're trying. They get a little.
I know Bibbit gets some at the end, but yeah.
Yeah. So
that was the only thing. Very, very underwritten women that are just kind of there to do other than Ratchet. You know what I mean?
Well, it is just
hey, you gonna do my friend a favor because you're a woman. It's what you do. That doesn't hold up totally. But again, it's a time and it's
bada bing.
I never thought about that. Everyone.
Bastafagool.
Yeah, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. It's actually, when I take a shot, I was about to bring it up, but it was one of my last minute omissions of my top 100 last year when I edited it, or this year when I edited it.
What time?
Oh, it's not in there anymore? I thought it was.
Yeah.
What version of your top 100 didn't it make this year?
Yeah, I see. I must have looked at the old list. I thought it was still in there.
No, I literally had the year on. It's updated. It's color coordinated. No, but it's just because it's one of those things where I still loved it and I still had a lot of fun with it, but I just didn't hit emotional at the end. And when we have so many favorite movies, I got to figure out some sort of tiebreaker.
Oh, no, the ending with Nicholson. Oh, come on.
No, I'm saying I've seen this 7 or 8 times at this point, so it just happened to not hit me today. So I was just like, I guess I'll take it out. Just when you have 120 legit top 100 movies, it's hard. But anyway, yeah, one of my favorite scenes of this movie is obviously the baseball one where he's doing the whole imagination, the World Series. One of my favorite lines, we take it out of Cats. He's like, "Someone give me a winner before I fucking die." It's just I just love it.
And not that this is gonna sound dumb, but damn, is Nicholson so good?
Literally, he's one of my favorite actors of all time. Everyone knows.
Yeah, I think I need to do more of a deeper dive on this Chinatown, all the ones I haven't seen.
Honestly, it's a slower one, and I'll always understand if people don't love Chinatown, but Chinatown is one of my it's still in my top.
Yeah, no, there's several
because it just fits more of just the. It's one of my favorite endings of all time. But anyway, yeah, my other favorite scene is when they go on the fishing boat and they're just
fishing boat scene's great.
Yeah, it's just great. I love this. Jay, when was the last time you seen this, and what are your general thoughts?
6 years ago, and I think I was watching it because I walked in to have a conversation with my grandma. The movie was starting, and was like, "Oh, I'd never actually watched the movie." You know, I knew what everybody else knew, like essentially all of the main characters in the film. But then you watch it, and you're like, "Okay, this is the story of a fucking mental institution." And the people running the goddamn madhouse are the people more likely to need to be in that motherfucker and instead of positions of power. And it really, like, it's one of those movies that paranoid the fuck out of me, and has always made me really like worried about being sent to a fucking mental institution, because nobody wants to meet somebody like Nurse Ratched. I'm sorry, nobody fucking wants to meet them, but they're all running the fucking madhouse.
And especially when he's thinking, I got like 43 more days, and he's like, what the fuck are you talking about? And he's like, I'm out of here. No. And he was like, that's if we let you out. What are you talking about? This is a different ballgame. You signed a new contract essentially by coming over here.
Yeah,
it's really interesting too. I want to add real quick that like it's an interesting movie to watch nowadays too, because like when you see Nicholson, you're like, yeah, the dude's maybe got some problems, but like the fact that they, you know what they do to him, you're like, man, like fuck, like nowadays, hopefully they would realize, like, no, this dude just needs, like, you know what I mean, maybe some talking to, some medication. Like, it's kind of really fucked up, like, you know, looking at it from that, like how misunderstood a lot of these people were back in the day and how they were treated, like, you know, that to that extremity when it's like, no, that's not, what the fuck, like you're trying to like fix them, like with, you know, and it's really, it is like you said, kind of paranoid, disturbing. Like
this would be a great double,
and still does to a degree now, you know.
This would be a great double feature with Shutter Island, just because of the
the
fantastical element of what they try and say is happening, and then how it would parallel with like what we do see in this one. That would be a weird, cool double feature. Maybe one would say the most unique double feature, right? No, I'm just kidding.
No, they wouldn't. If anything, that's holes in everything everywhere all at once. I'm just saying.
Your holes and get a couple.
How many holes do you have? Anyways, no. So like, it's one of those really weird things because this movie came out in 1975.
You didn't jay it. Good job.
Hey, let's go. Okay.
By the way, the second movie to win the Big Five.
Network was next, right?
No. Or you talking about it was the next best picture, but it didn't win the Big Five. But
no, was it nominated?
What's the Big Five again, real quick?
Best
director, actor, actress, and screenwriting.
Oh, so Ratched won?
Yeah.
Okay.
Louise Fletcher.
No, so
what she going to do? I don't remember her for much.
Nothing. Yeah. She didn't have to do anything.
I think
she won a fucking Oscar.
I think she Prince Joffrey'd it and never worked again. Like,
she ain't have to. But no, so like, just to bring it to the real world real fast, like it's really crazy because this movie came out in 75. 20 years before this movie, they were lobotomizing the daughter of presidents or the cousins of presidents because they had epilepsy or they had nervous disorders. And as a motherfucker who has an anxiety disorder, I'm lucky today to be in the era that I am with the way that mental health is being taken care of now. This is a horror movie to anybody who has any sort of fucking mental illness, just to see the way that they treated people 50 fucking years ago at this point in time. No,
and that's why also RP McMurphy is one of those good characters where it's like he comes in with a certain set of, you know, eyes, and when he comes in, he actually starts to connect with them genuinely, and that's why it's so heartbreaking what happens to Billy, because it's like, you know, he develops an actual friendship and a relationship with these men who, you know, everyone just looks as, you know, like Chief, deaf, dumb, and stupid. You know, he don't know anything. He's just playing long con. You know what I mean? It's just like, because he's like, they're not gonna respect me anyway. I'm just gonna do what I can to get him to leave me alone.
I'm just gonna be quiet and fucking play my part.
You son of a bitch.
Tato, what are your thoughts on this? And when was the last time you seen it?
Yeah, it's been a hot fucking minute, probably a decade and a half since I've seen this. Something like that. I was definitely a kid, so I definitely need to go back and give it some adult eyes. I don't really have too much to add that hasn't been said, but I will say check out the League episode when Rafi met Dirty Randy.
That is true.
R.I.P. Louise Fletcher though too. By the way, last year we lost her.
Oh, rip!
I do remember that now. She said it. Yep. That was one of those ones.
And she did some stuff here and there. She was in Shameless, evidently. Heroes.
Hey.
So.
Fair enough.
Working a little bit until the end. Cruel Intentions. I don't
know. What was your rating for that, JPO?
That's a solid 4, or maybe even 4.5. Yeah, I think I had it 4.
I
think I give it a 5. I think I fucking went. Did I go full hog?
I did. I wanted you to say it out loud.
Yeah, you should.
Maybe you went 4.5.
You went full 7.5 inches deep, bro.
No, I went 5. I went full hog. I was that high on it. Yeah, because I think I'm trying to be, because I'm definitely like a hog or very spicky on my 5s. Like,
what?
You got to.
Hey yo, hey yo.
Pinky. All right, hey, let's edit this out.
You could-
This is the last episode.
We can't
204
edit.
and
Yeah.
Technically,
Pinky
you could
on my
say,
fives.
technically you
I'm
could say
very-
that. I'm just saying.
If you look at my
Technically.
letterbox, a lot of fours, a lot
He
of.
wasn't
4.5,
talking about a
very
cleaning
little
product.
fives. God damn.
That'd be low
I gotta
soap.
go.
No,
No se puede.
I agree. It's one of those things. A lot of people will make fun of me for like giving out, quote unquote, so many 5 stars.
I never want to be as bad as you, but I got to be better.
I
Look,
will always defend it. Look at my actual graph. My graph is like.
Don't look at his graph.
Look at this graph.
Nothing. No, doesn't work
Look
with your
at
screen.
These are the 5 stars over here. It's way below my 4 and 3 stars.
My
Just
boy
because
got
I
a fucking plateau in the middle
because
of
I
his
have
shit.
211 5 stars, but I also have 1,400 4 and 3 stars combined. So it's like
God damn.
percentage wise, it's very low. It's just I don't just go and watch everything because for trivia or whatever. So my point is, I'm glad that you're not just afraid of 5
Why
stars.
are you
because
lying?
Feel like someone.
I'm
makes
trying
fun of
not
you.
to be. I'm trying not to
Yeah.
be.
Like if it's something hits you or emotional, I feel like it should earn it.
Yeah.
Or if you just genuinely love it, like anything View Askew related, like technically it doesn't deserve 5 star, but like if it's a favorite, 5 star.
Yeah, like that. That's always. Yeah, I've definitely had that mindset. I think before where I'm like, I love it. 3.
Exactly. Kirk, it's in your top 100. It's number 40 in your top 100. 3 stars. Like what? All
Yeah,
right, we're
like,
It's a 2.5 star movie. Kirk.
facts. No, that's just okay. All right, we're jump back over to me. I watched The Patriot, and another movie similar to
For the first time?
First Time, dude.
Wow.
First
This
time.
movie's a fucking banger, dog. I love this movie.
And I agree. Like I when I went into this, at no point was I like, afterwards I'm gonna want to watch a couple of reactions. Afterwards, I wanted to watch a couple of reactions. I wanted to see other people's opinions. You know what I mean? This similar to Air Force One. I think that's why I watched them like semi back to back, is because I thought definition of like dad movies, and it just really wasn't. Like it was legit like a banger, and not really being a big fan of Roland Emmerich stuff. Like I think Independence Day is mad overrated, and all his other stuff just becomes smash 'em up movies or bang 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 pow pow pow. Michael Bay explosions type of stuff. So without the style, just the explosions. But anyway, so The Patriot's one of those. Obviously, however you're going to feel about Mel Gibson is what it is. That's not the point. The point is now at the time, he kills it. Jason Isaacs. That was always the one I knew about this movie because I was like one of those Schmodown app like obvious ones that just got asked 1,000 times. This for the iPhone people, not you, poor Android people. But anyway,
not you fucking commoners. Not you fucking commoners, bro. First off.
And it's almost 3 hours.
The Android app. Is it coming? Is it coming?
Exactly.
Eventually,
the update will come first.
Go back to schmo.io.
No, but this was such a good time. Both in terms of that ending battle was fantastic. Just like the practical stuff when Old Boy, it's not really a major spoiler because Tato hasn't seen this, but like Old Boy when they threw the cannon and like his leg just gets decapitated off, and it just looks so real. I'm like, I think that guy's leg is just gone, dude. Like like if that was a prosthetic leg, I wouldn't be surprised.
Was one-legged, they were able to actually fucking crush that shit.
Then that I'm not surprised because they look that real. So yeah. For being almost 3 hours, for being a Revolutionary War, World War I type of thing, it was Revolutionary or World War I?
It's Revolutionary War.
Yeah. So just being that old and that they don't overdo like the accents and the dialect and the diction of what they're saying, so you don't feel like out of place when you're listening to them speak, but also they're not talking like Romeo plus Juliet like modern day either. So it does a nice combination there, and yeah, looked good. The score is fantastic, get you emotional in like 3 or 4 different scenes, as well as just constantly engaged. So yeah, I really like this another one. It won't be a favorite, but it was just a rock solid 4 stars, and I will watch it again. Jake, continue on your love for this.
I actually really do like this movie. This is one of those movies that really just brings out my love for Heath Ledger. We can talk all the shit that we want. We can say that like I'm not gonna lie, my favorite movie with Heath Ledger is probably Tato's favorite movie with Heath Ledger. It's A Knight's Tale. This is actually a close second for me. I thoroughly enjoy the fuck out of this movie. Just the scenes outside of the war concept with I almost called him Bruce Willis, with Mel Gibson.
You white, you Bruce Willis.
Yeah, you white, you Jason Isaacs. But no, like there's like I didn't watch all of the Harry Potters when they came out.
Okay.
But once I saw Jason Isaacs in this movie and then I saw him in the Harry Potter movie, I instantly disliked him, and it took me like 3 years to be like, that's the same motherfucker. No wonder I didn't like him when I saw him in this motherfucking movie, dog.
You hit the Leonardo DiCaprio. You're like, hey, that's
But yeah, no, like this movie's great, and it doesn't feel like a 3-hour movie. Like it's like 2 hours and like 40 minutes long or some shit like that. Like 2 hours 45, some shit like that. It's a long motherfucking movie because it's an epic about the Revolutionary War. And it doesn't feel like it. There's so much action broken up in between just the smaller, softer pieces. I think of the getting hitched to your cousin thing is a little bit weird, and it's a little but no, this I know you don't like Roland Emmerich films a lot, and that's fine. I agree with you mostly on your take about him. I think this is like my favorite movie by Roland Emmerich.
I can already tell it's going to probably be hard to beat.
This is a really good fucking movie. It's not one of those movies that I'd watch on a daily fucking basis, but it's definitely one of those movies that if it's on, even if I catch it 20, 30, 40, an hour in, I'm still going to watch it.
I watch this every like Memorial Day, Labor Day, 4th of July era, like one of those holidays.
It's definitely a 4th of July movie, bro.
Yeah, and that's why I did it. I did that that's why essentially why I did the Air Force one and this for, pro America in different, areas because I wanted to do first time watches. JPL, since you don't read the private chat, have you seen this?
Nobody's reading the private chat. Have you noticed, Henry?
Yeah, they all.
I either thumbs up or I shook my head.
Oh, oopsies. I'm the bad one. No, I saw the opposite of you. I saw this pretty much when it first came out. Probably rented it on VHS. There's an old sentence for you. So yeah, it's been a minute. I do remember definitely thinking like, oh, this Heath Ledger guy has got something going on. He's definitely.
I hope he has a long career.
That guy's got a long life ahead of him.
They said it. I didn't.
I just made myself sad.
Because other than like it's like this and like 10 Things I Hate About You is all I had seen probably at that moment. So yeah, I do remember like the whole family watching it though and liking it too. Actually, like it was one of those like, hey,
ironically,
Mel Gibson. Mel Gibson can do no wrong. Let's rent this movie.
If that guy doesn't leave, that was pre-voicemail too. So yeah, he was probably doing good.
That's what I'm saying. It's the year 2000, 2001, whatever. That we're like, yeah, Mel Gibson, right? We love him.
2000.
Oh yeah, he was straight gasoline, like Chicken Run, fucking.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure we rented Chicken Run too on VHS.
Exactly.
What women want? That talk about it. Yikes. Jay, what is your next
movies we're mentioning are getting worse and worse, by the way.
What's on next for your docket, Jay?
My boy's wicked smart. I'm telling you, dog. Good Will Hunting. I just got a wild hair at my ass. I was actually watching movie monologues on YouTube and
never seen this.
I had never seen it, bro. Like I'd watched all the important parts, like in clips and shit everywhere, but like never sat down to fucking watch the actual thing. And to tell you the truth, a lot of what came up was because I was watching those movie monologues, but I was also having conversations with Madi, as a matter of fact, about our debate that we just had. And Robin Williams came up. So I was like, I'm going to watch this movie. I got like 20 minutes into it. And fucking Tato was like, what's up, Doc? What are you doing? It's like fucking 2:00 in the morning. I was like, I'm fucking feeling sorry for myself and watching fucking Good Will Hunting. Why, you want to fucking hang out? He's like, yeah. And I fucking watched Good Will Hunting for the fucking first time.
And?
Oh, I love this movie.
Okay.
Oh, I fucking love this movie. I wasn't even gonna.
We don't want to get whiplash 2 weeks in a row, bro.
What the fucking long game.
Oh no. No, this is easily a fucking 5-star movie for me. Like, granted, some of the dialogue doesn't hold up. It's a movie from '97, so like some of it doesn't fucking hold up. There's a lot of fucking...
my little league glove. Gotta get clean up somehow.
Hey, there's some tides thrown around in there that I'm just like not comfortable with. But like Bill Skarsgård's up in this bitch too, just out of fucking nowhere.
Yeah, that's not true.
Yeah, whatever.
That's not true.
They're all in the same family, bro. Stellar Skateboard is up in this bitch. Robin Williams gives by far one of my favorite performances of his career, in my opinion, in this movie.
Literally.
Like, oh, absolutely. When fucking Will sat there talking shit about his dead wife, and he's like, boy, if you fucking mention my wife's name one more time, I will fucking end you. That didn't seem like that wasn't acting. That was literally like Robin Williams just wanted to beat the shit out of somebody when that scene was Yeah, for real. Like, no, the visiting scene, like that's the monologue that I was listening to, because you stay well past visiting hours because for you that term doesn't apply. Shit like that. Like it hits hard when you watch it and they're just delivering the monologue, but not having the context before or after or knowing what happens after any of that is just incredible. Like, say what you will about two fucking kids from Massachusetts coming together to write a goddamn movie. I didn't think I was gonna like this movie as much as I liked this movie, to tell you the truth. I really fucking didn't.
Yep.
And I fell in love with this fucking movie. Also, by the way, I just want y'all to know that that's Minnie Driver in this movie, and this is the same year that she fucking played Lady Eboshi in Princess Mononoke. By the way, like, I know y'all don't understand what that means because y'all don't fucking remember that movie, but that's my number one movie of all time. And she's a bad bitch in both, tell you the truth. Like,
give us a kiss.
But no, I absolutely loved this movie, and honestly, walked in expecting to give it like a 3.5, and it ended up being a 5-star movie.
Yeah, it's one of those. Applesauce bitch. I'm glad now you are able to connect those dots officially. Good Will Hunting's one.
I don't like those apples, Will.
What are we gonna do?
Lemon face. Good Will Hunting is just it's always been so special to me as someone who grew up how I did. Whenever Will doesn't want to talk about his past, or Will doesn't want to he wants to kind of shy away from it, and he wants to be with his friends, and he's going off What movie was I watching when he was like, yeah, I just sometimes on my free time I just like to write math problems on my window. He's like, is that Good Will Hunting? No, I don't think that. But the fact that that's how he hides away from his problems, and when he's in the courtroom and he's whatever.
No, I'd like a chance to defend myself, sir.
And he's like, I get it. You got yourself off like 3 or 4 times, but you hit a cop, you're going away. You know what I mean? It's like sometimes, and then obviously, Stellar Skateboard comes in, and then they develop their relationship. And it's interesting that you didn't.
I hated him in this movie, by the way.
So what? I don't want to bring up Whiplash again too much, but I feel like there's some parallels of just like you the overboard, the gifted person, and like where do you think this got it right where Whiplash didn't, of handling that?
Mainly, I think what it comes down to is like Stellan isn't in the movie enough for that to become a factor. His relationship in the antagonistic role that he takes in this is with Robin Williams's character, not with Will's character. Like he sees that Matt Damon can do these things, but it's not him pushing him. It's him lashing out at the man who he knows he's inferior to.
Yeah.
Because there's a very I think that's a large dynamic, and I'm pretty sure like everybody has picked up on it, but there's a lot of that whole, hey, I know that I won this award, but I feel like a fucking imposter. So I have to kind of exert the pressure and power that I have over you to make sure that you know that I'm good enough to do this. Even though like it's an award in mathematics. But like he just felt like he was trying to prove himself to somebody who didn't give an absolute iota of a fuck about it. And it worked. Whereas in Whiplash, it didn't, because it was the overbearing mentor character doing it to the character that showed talent in one thing, but there was no buffer in between. So like it didn't,
very much plays like the Mozart Salieri thing.
Yes.
That's fair. I definitely respect that. All right. So Tato, when was the last time you seen this, and what are your thoughts on it?
Before watching it with Jay, it had been a hot minute, probably again in the mid 2000s territory. So probably around the same time as I had first seen Chasing Amy and such. So I will say that this is my second favorite movie of 1997 with Ben and Casey. It is still a fantastic film. I agree with all the sentiments you said about it. The Ben and Matt, or like not the Ben and Matt. I mean, yes, the Ben and Matt of it all too. They were great in it together, but Robin and Matt really fucking play off each other just fucking amazingly in this film.
The
It's not
only
your
thing
fault.
that I'll say that is a negative to this movie, and it's really not a negative, it just keeps it from being like this is in my top 50 of all time, but it's not like my top 10, simply just the fact of there's something about the style with Gus Van Sant that just feels like Barry Levinson and one of those directors where it's like they make good movies, but it's one of those things where like if you have like a lineup other than us as like movie trivia nerds where we know directors, but like if you have a lineup of a bunch of movies, you're like, name this director, nothing about their style and their tone like really stands out. And I feel like that's what Gus Van Sant did with this. Like there's nothing stylistically about this movie that really, stands out, in terms of like the pace and all that stuff. If it wasn't, the characters weren't so great and the dialogue wasn't so raw and edgy, essentially the script and the acting, but everything but the directing keeps it, down. And like even the major scenes of all, the monologues, essentially either one or two shots back and forth. There's still nothing like it's not snappy because it's monologuing, so it doesn't really have nothing to do for him as a director. So that's the only thing that keeps it down. And I'm not saying it needs to be like Tarantino or like Edgar Wright, like fancy stuff, but I feel like there's a way it could have been done just to like make it like the best of the best instead of just really, 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 really fucking good. JPO, what are your thoughts on this movie?
Never seen. Not seen. No, I know it's been a minute, but I do love this movie as well. Here, I am one of those drama nerds that had that Robin Williams monologue memorized at one point, and I performed in front of people before. So I've always thought that was a beautiful part here. I love the dynamic between the friends. The ending, son of a bitch stole my line, and yeah. The only thing I'm not a big Gus Van Sant fan.
Exactly.
I don't think he directs that. I don't like his direction style, to be honest with you, and I don't actually love the editing in this either, to a degree. But that's kind of the only two things that hold it back for me personally. I think Williams, Damon, and Affleck fucking kill it.
Absolutely, I love that. So I'm glad, Jay, it stood the test, stood the hype, similar to One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. In a different regard for him. So once again, Tato, you won a first time watch. I'll actually let you go. Tato, what is another one you want to shout out?
Yeah, I'll carry on the. What's up? Oh, okay, sorry. I'll carry on the train of big misses. And I'll just do the whole trilogy here. I watched the Indiana Jones original trilogy for the first time.
That's good because one of my next one is going to be Dial of Destiny, so I'll kind of just tie that in with that too. So go ahead with those.
Oh, are you trying to avoid spoilers?
Yeah, I'm definitely not.
Obviously,
I want to fucking say about it. I hated it, but go ahead with
the
first three.
I thoroughly dug all these films. They all do end up at 4 stars for me. Though Last Crusade is distinctly like a level worse. It's almost 3.5, but it wasn't. It's still a good enough movie to be 4-star movie.
You said Last Crusade?
Yeah.
Interesting. That's okay.
Yeah. Sorry, what? I don't know. Yeah.
Just the way you said it, you were like, they're all like 4 stars. Last Crusade technically would be like the 3.5. It's easily the lowest, and that's just a take that I've never heard before.
Oh,
that's
interesting.
Coming from me, who says Raiders is one of the most overrated movies of all time. You know what I mean? So I was interested about that. So go ahead.
Okay. No, you're good, but I just didn't know that was a hot take. Maybe I'll throw that in the I don't know if
Temple is the weakest of this trilogy, video, by the way.
No, I fucking love Temple. I love Ke Huy Quan, dude. Ke Huy Quan is
Oscar winner. Ke Huy Quan,
Oscar winning Ke Huy Quan is fantastic in that movie. Even at
holy potatoes, Dr. Jones.
Yeah, there's a potato reference in that flick. So
no wonder you fucking loved it so goddamn much.
Exactly. No other Tato lore reasons for me loving that one in particular, as opposed to the other two. We will
set of lungs on her.
But yeah, no, Ke Huy Quan really does save what would without him would probably be the worst of the three. But with him is my favorite, even though I think Raiders is the best, like just on paper. But yeah, I really dug this franchise, but it will never end up as my geek meat and potatoes. I don't like it as much as I do, say, Star Wars or MCU or shit like that. But overall, like, I understand the respect and veneration for this franchise.
JPO, you seen these movies?
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay. It's raining like a mofo, so I wasn't sure how much of that was.
No, you're good. It came through a little bit, but yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah. So I haven't seen these in so long. I pretty much consider myself as I haven't seen them, to be honest with you. Like, it's one of those, like, I know I've seen them all as a kid, and then they all kind of blend in. So I do actually very much need to do basically this and revisit the first three
On my voodoo, so go ahead.
And no, there's really no excuse why I haven't more recently in the last 20 years.
Henry, you've seen these movies.
Yeah, so me with the Indiana Jones movies, I didn't grow up on them, so that's step one. I've seen them all for the first time in the last 5 years roughly. So I say they're all good movies, and I say that, and that's even Kingdom of Crystal Skull.
I don't hate Crystal Skull.
We're not talking about that one, but
I don't either.
Yeah. I think they're all positive movies. But what I will say is I think Temple of Doom is the best because it's just so fun and wild and wacky, and it just fits my vibe. Last Crusade is really like they're probably neck and neck. Like if I'm in a family mood, like the actual adventure mood, then I'll probably go Last Crusade, which is why it's shocking because even me, who thinks that overall that this franchise is overrated, for you to like easily say that one's the lowest was interesting. So it depends on which mood I'm in. If I want a more horror action or more family action, it depends on those two. But for me, Raiders just is a bummer, dude. And I've said this from day one. So like Raiders to me is like Winter Soldier, which that's another one of my two hot takes for, Santa in my life thing, where it's like the good is fucking good. Like I'm not trying to be edgy. Like the good is really fucking good, but everything spaced in between is either boring or bad, and that just really bums me out. I can't do peaks and valleys in movies, and that's why it just like it bums me out that people just never acknowledge it either, because that makes me feel weird. Like like any time that Indiana Jones is Henry Jones, Dr. Jones, I'm bored to tears. Like I got nothing. When he's Indiana Jones, it's really good. Like it's really cool. He's charismatic and all stuff. But when he's not, he feels like he's Blade Runner. Decker just doing the voiceover, doing the narration. How he just feels like he's just walking through it as a teacher. You know what I mean? It's boring as shit to me. But when he is Indiana Jones doing the adventure stuff, it's fun. Obviously, the score is fantastic. Spielberg knows how to direct. I will admit the first time I watched it, I really pissed me off about the close your eyes. It just felt like a stupid, like an Deus Ex Machina. Then I realized the more I watched, I learned he read something in one of the scrolls or whatever. Like he learned about it and just kind of triggered. So at the time I didn't know it. So I've always technically been lower even for then. So, but as I've gone on, like I'll watch it. I'm like, I just don't really want to watch this. I'll watch clips and I once again take a shot. Every time I bring up like 40-Year-Old Virgin or Anchorman, it's like the highs are the highs, but from start to finish, I can't. And it really bums me out. So that's why, and I'm just going to go ahead and just transition into Dial of Destiny real quick. No spoilers, obviously. But when I went in, I already went in with low expectations just because, A, the trailers didn't sell me at all, and B, I'm not a fan of just this franchise as a whole. But that movie just, as someone who just watched Dead Reckoning and saw everything in practice, I'm not going to talk about that one either too much. But what I'll say is everything, how it just looks amazing, and they came out the same year. Dude, Dial of Destiny is just green screen the movie. Like it's just like, yeah, like they have a fight sequence once again, not really.
Bitch, you've been to space.
Yeah, exactly. They have a fight. They have a whole action sequence where they're going through like a parade, and it literally just looks like a high school play in the background. Like it's just like a backdrop. It's ugly, and ironically, there's a lot of train sequences similar to Dead Reckoning, and the train sequences to Dead Reckoning, you're like, yo, my man's about to die or nah? And then in Dial of Destiny, you're like, I don't even think anyone's there to die. You know what I mean? It just did nothing for me.
It's only because Indiana Jones is 800 years old at this point.
The ironic part of that is his age is the only thing that didn't bother me. Like I actually,
really?
They handled him properly. It's just everything around him. Like you could tell that movie somehow was affected by COVID, and it's crazy that that Dead Reckoning and even Fast X, just in terms of effects, Fast X looks better. Dial of Destiny just looks the worst out of all those. You know what I mean? It actually has a good story. I really like the third act and what they did with it. Once again, I won't go into it, but I really liked what they did with the third act, and I just wished it would have connected better. And I just didn't care up to that point. And you felt the length, and it's like, oh my god, and I like James Mangold as a director, and it just didn't do anything for me. JPO, you said you've seen it.
JPO already talked about it. I went to JPO first while you were gone.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Not Dial of Destiny. Not Dial of Destiny.
No, not that. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Because I transitioned into it, so I don't have to go backtrack. Yeah, nice flow.
Yeah, you're good.
No, yeah. So I've seen the last two about recently. I'll just be real quick, just kind of piggyback off him. Yeah, I'm not as distracted by the effects, but it's definitely there, and it does take out a little bit, and it's just sadly one of those, like, it's kind of in the same vein as Kingdom of Crystal Skull. It's like a solid 3 stars. Like I didn't hate it by any means, but at the same time, it's already nowhere near my top 10, and it's only halfway through the year. It's just just fine. I didn't love Indiana Jones.
Already
I understand that they handled him correctly, but at the same time, like he was still kind of just old and out of it, and like that's not. I don't really want to see that. Like it just wasn't fun. You know what I mean? Didn't seem like he was having fun, so I'm not having fun.
80-year-old Sean Connery as James Bond. It's just not what you're signing up for.
Yeah. So like that was kind of sucked out for me. Mads Mikkelsen and what's his face is the bad guy from
Boyd
Logan
Holbrook.
who's kind of playing the same character.
Boyd Holbrook.
They're both kind of
Oh,
just
Boyd
fine.
Holbrook's in
Like,
this movie.
yeah. He's
I
like
haven't
the
seen
second villain.
any of the trailers or anything for it.
And that's
so,
not really a
like,
spoiler. Like he's a major
He
character.
looks like the
So
Logan
it's not-
character.
Yeah, it's not like one of those that'll just pop
well,
up. You're
yeah,
like, oh,
because
I
that's what he
didn't know
looks like. That's his face.
that. No, in
No,
Gone
but I'm
Girl,
saying, like,
in
if
Gone
you've seen
Girl,
him
he
in
doesn't look like Boyd Holbrook.
Gone Girl.
I've
Vengeance
never
from
seen
last
Gone
year,
Girl.
where he's
I know,
great
it's
in
on my list.
Vengeance.
Trust me. We're gonna react to
with
that one. That's
BJ
a
Novak.
reaction movie.
All right.
So yeah, so no, I mean, again, like they're like, and they're both really good actors, Mickelson and Boyd, but like again, like I just wasn't that invested in
Yeah,
them
the
as villains.
performances. I didn't have any issue with the performance. By the way, the acting's fine or good.
No, they're great actors. That I'm just saying, as maybe dialogue wise or just whatever. Just again, I never
Nothing
got to the
stuck.
next level on any level. I never got to the next level. You know?
Yeah, like and the storyline with the girl does a lot of thing where there's a lot of back and forth, where there's double
Yeah.
crosses or can't trust them. And I feel like once again, I hate that I'm comparing it to Dead Reckoning, but like Haley Atwell's character is like that character, but Haley Atwell is like 1,000 times better in Dead Reckoning, whereas the girl character
It just shows they had probably a tighter script, a tighter vision, better direction, maybe, and also they don't have the green screen as much. I don't know.
No, it's not because they don't have to. They choose not to because they're wild, just like Nolan and Christopher
Well,
McQuarrie.
that's what I'm saying. They
all
didn't
want
do it
practical
as much,
and they
or
all
if at
want real.
all.
They're like, we'll die for this movie.
And it can show, evidently, you know what I mean? 'Cause, like,
Literally.
it does, you know. Like even if you're trying not to be, like I really try not to be bothered with it, but it still doesn't, you know,
No,
raise
absolutely.
you that high.
So
Um,
real
so
fast.
Unfortunately, it was a 2-star movie for me. I couldn't even be positive. I tried.
Jason wants to do Jason on the trilogy.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry, buddy.
Well, no. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to step on your toes. I just wanted to get it out of the way real fast. I just love the fact that like we all have different takes on the original three.
Yeah.
Because I do like Raiders. I do like Raiders and The Last Crusade more than I like Temple of Doom. I don't hate Temple of Doom, but I still just think Raiders is the best of them. Temple of Doom and then like Crusade are not bad movies. They're not bad movies. I just think Temple of Doom is boring to me, and Tato coming into it as a full-grown adult and not actually having watched them as a kid, Henry not having watched them as a kid, JPO not necessarily remembering them so much, but watching them as a child. I watched these growing up, so like I've always had just this really weird like relationship with Temple of Doom. So
It
like
made you poop your pants, and now you got beef. I get
it did not make me poop my pants. That's not the one that did it. God damn it! If you're gonna tell my story, tell it right. Fuck.
I think this guy shit himself.
I think he shit himself.
I look like little Michael.
Hello, little Michael.
No, but like, I love the fact that we all have different aspects of the movies, but we don't hate any of the movies in of themselves of the original three. Words being said about Dial of Destiny, unfortunately, I haven't seen it yet. And Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, I think I like more than most people.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that when we finally have people who fucking watched it, so we can all fucking talk about it.
Facts. All right, JPO, you're next.
Okay, we can go over to Jay's assignment of Dog Soldiers.
Ooh.
I'm sorry, JPO, I didn't get to your movie this week.
Then I don't want. I'm going to talk Flawless instead. No, yeah.
No, talk Dog Soldiers. Talk Dog Soldiers.
Dog Soliders.
That's how you
Jay's been
spell
recommending this to me for
soldiers.
2 years now, so I'm curious.
No, it's not.
No,
it's
you're
not.
right. The ID is fucked up. Kick him out the bar.
I never know how to spell soldiers.
SOLTIERS.
I swear to God, soldiers is one of the words I just never get it right. And I'm really good at spelling, but soldiers gets me every time.
There you go. So this is one that was vaguely kind of on my radar. I feel like it's only popped up on my radar maybe the last
It's
couple
Neil
of years.
Marshall, right?
It's Neil
Yeah,
Marshall's
who then
first
went
movie.
on
Descent.
to do Descent, which is funny because there's like one
And
chick in
Hellboy
this,
2019, but we don't talk about
and
that.
then in Descent there's no dudes in Descent. So he flip flopped sexes. So good for him.
Pardon me.
I enjoyed it for the most part. I definitely was invested enough, like, you know, to where I was kind of wondering how it was going to end. You definitely feel the budget though from the get go. Like, that first scene's almost one of the worst, like with the two people in the tent and like kind of like you see a claw. But luckily it gets a little bit better here, and they do have some better practical effects later on when they actually get to see in some of the wolves here. And the main dude I liked, I did sometimes lose in the shuffle, like who's who and who's connected to who and whatnot. One of those soldier movies where I'm like, who died? What was my connection to him again? Oh, okay.
I watched Dunkirk. I don't know anything about these people. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. And like I said, and that is kind of thing. Like, but like the main dude you are kind of invested in from the get go. You see kind of like who he is as a person, so you're kind of into that here. And so like I did dig it. I like I said, I felt some of the B-sideness of it as well, but I could see why, especially visually too, like someone could see this and go, okay, let's do something with this guy. Like he's got a vision, and why he was like giving money for the Descent and whatnot.
There you go. Tato, have you seen this? Because I know Jay's seen it and he loves it.
He says no in the chat. No, you're not looking at the chat.
Well, no, I kind of went thinking that Jay would have flown at this point. That was me just kind of assuming and wanted to float it. All right, Jay, go ahead. What are your thoughts?
Look,
and why has this been something you've been pushing for so long?
Because everybody gets to sit here and tell me that this horror movie or that horror movie is just like the best of all time. Am I ever going to say that Dog Soldiers is one of the greatest horror movies of all time? Absolutely not. Are there scenes in this movie that are absolutely hilarious if you look at them outside of a horror perspective? Yes, because there's a fucking werewolf in this movie that gets absolutely decimated by a fucking cast iron frying pan, and it's still just one of my favorite fucking scenes in this entire film because it's the Onion Knight, fucking Liam fucking Cunningham. Fucking just absolutely obliterates. Yes, Davos Seaworth. Yes, absolutely obliterates a fucking werewolf with a cast iron skillet. Some of the practical effects, like you could definitely tell, JPO's not wrong. Like there's a budget constraint to this movie.
But is it all practical and some of them just don't work, or is it a mix of digital and practical?
Most of it's practical. I would say it's like 85-15 practical. Like there's a scene in the movie where a dude definitely gets split from fucking throat to nutsack, and what drops out of this man is just like links of braided sausage covered in like fake blood.
Too.
Hey, for real. But like it's one of those things where I watched this movie at a very formative age. I watched this movie at like 12 years old, dog, and I slept with every piece of silver I could find in my house. I watched it, for real though. Like that, but that's what I'm saying. Like it stuck with me. So it's like one of those movies from childhood where like I have fond memories of this movie scaring the absolute dog shit out of me. I enjoy this movie to this day. I'm so glad you bought it on your Vudu because I was like,
I saw $4.99. I'm like, Love and War and Jay.
But I was like, dog, like this is just a funny movie. Like it's a horror movie, and I think
is it funny because it's meant to be funny, or is it just kind of one of those awkwardly funny that you just kind of laugh?
It's awkwardly funny because like there are certain scenes that happen. It's awkwardly funny, like the Scottish horror film Black Sheep is, where Black Sheep is about like were sheep. This is about werewolves in the Scottish Highland.
Well, what is Harrison Ford in Anchorman 2? The were-hyena.
He's a were-hyena.
God damn it, Nathan.
It's not my fault you don't remember that. But no, like, I thoroughly think that more people need to watch horror movies like this instead of concentrating on dumb
British
shit. Yes. Okay. Yes, 100%. This is well, Neil Marshall isn't an American director. Neil Marshall's British.
Yeah, because the Descent's British. I just meant in terms of, did it feel British? Like, is it like
kind of, but it didn't have like dry humor, but like it's more, there are comedic moments in the movie, but I think like all good horror movies have comedic moments to ease that tension, and then they just fucking cock slap you with a werewolf or Pazuzu or whatever. JPO probably rated this bitch like a good 2-star movie.
Pretty sure he gave it a 3.
No, you gave it a 3? No, I think it's overall positive. Yeah, like I said, I'm not over the moon, but no, I definitely thought it was. Like I said, I was invested into the kind of the end. And
get it over the moon.
But no, like I'm really glad I'm actually really glad you enjoyed this because I know when I tell people the premise of this film, nobody's like, I'm gonna fucking run out and watch that fucking movie. But now that
I like the premise. I would love to see Neil Marshall with a budget like redo it in a way. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think if
I hate when I say that, but there's been multiple times where I'm like, I would love an actual remake of this movie with all the same people and just with more money
and a budget.
Yeah. I hate when I say that because it sounds lazy because it's like that takes away the diamond in the roughs, like the the cheap movies that are like Clerks that are done so well with no budget. But still, sometimes you want to see it done again. JPO, have you seen Sorry to Bother You?
Yeah, absolutely.
Would this be because I haven't seen this? Would this be an interesting, weird double feature?
Weird. Yes.
Sure.
Oh,
is it because there's a wolf connection?
No, the third act. Well, the third act, just with the horses.
Yeah, with the wolves, whatever the fuck they end up being in the third act. Yeah. I mean, sure. Yeah, it's a very unique double feature. Yes.
There you go, bitch.
It's not as unique as holes and fucking everything everywhere all at once.
Pass. All right. We're gonna
shut up. That was great. Fuck you.
We're gonna go back over to me. This will be quick because it's another new release. Insidious: The Red Door. Similar to the Indiana Jones franchise of just like I like all of them, but I don't love any of them. So you know what I mean? All of them are positive, but like mid. You know what I mean? It's a mid franchise, but like it does its job. This movie,
Insidious.
Yeah, exactly. Literally, Insidious: The Red Door. Yeah, so this is the directorial debut of Patrick Wilson. So shout out to him. He actually did a good job. Like it, he doesn't stand out like Bradley Cooper or like Ben Affleck in their like first times whenever they did, as actors going in directing.
It's him and Vera in the first one.
No, Rose Byrne. Vera's Conjuring.
Vera Farmiga is Conjuring. Other Patrick Wilson horror family.
Hey, but
yeah.
But Patrick lays it down. Apparently, he's got baddies left and right, dog, and all them fish bitches in Aquaman.
Fish bitches.
No, but
yo, he has something going on with that octopus, bro.
8 legs. You need it with this cock. Anyway, tentacles.
I can't deny this part of myself anymore.
Yeah, how many legs do octopus have? They have tentacles, and they have 8. Anyway,
so they're not in the third one, evidently.
No, they're not. So that's why, ironically, and I'm not even joking, third one is my favorite, and that's Leigh Whannell's directorial debut.
They're not in it.
No, it's just ironic that it's just a coincidence that they're not in it. Third one's my favorite. So if I rank this franchise, I'd go 3, 1.
Red Door 2.
Yeah, I feel like 2 and Red Door probably flip-flop, depending on the mood. And then Last Key, I haven't rewatched in theaters, and technically speaking, that is the only one that I was negative on, but I have a feeling that if it's on par with this franchise, because no one else really shits on it, that I feel like it would bump it up to 3, but like a low 3. So, yeah, but this franchise is mid for me. But anyway, it's a story about, his the son with all the stuff that happens in 2, and it kind of just I don't want to say it like contradicts 2, but it like extends like the storyline that builds up into, and it's a good through line for a franchise. But I feel like it's obviously age wise it makes sense that you continue the storyline. I don't know, and I really like the relationship they builds with his roommate, because it's a girl. Hold on real quick, just because it's interesting storyline. I like the way they did it. Is he has a girl roommate because her name is Stevie or Charlie, but because she just named herself that, and then the housing was like, oh yeah, Charlie, probably a dude, was put them together. So then they have they spend the night together. It's not really a romantic. Yeah, no, fucked. No, it's not really a romantic relationship. It's like friends, and then they he gets her in, ropes her into like the scenario, and then they mess with some frat douchebag motherfuckers, and it's actually really funny, the frat stuff. So yeah, overall, everything that they do in this movie is good, but nothing really stands out. There's a couple emotional parts that like go get going, but it's only like barely over an hour and a half, and like the first 20-25 minutes is build up, or here's previously on Insidious 2, you know what I mean? So it takes a while to get there. So when it's so short, like it's one of those things where it's like, if you're going to do that, it could work, but you need to make the movie longer, or don't do that and make what you have work. And yeah, so it's missing with that. But yeah, overall, some good jump scares. There's this one CAT scan jump scare that really got me, so I will give it credit for that. So yeah, I would watch it again on a date, but probably not otherwise, unless I'm like studying for trivia. But I would watch it again for trivia.
I just had a real fast question.
Absolutely.
Because you said Red Door contradicts something that happens in 2. Is it because there's a different narrator and the story is being told from a different perspective, or is it just like a flat out?
I don't want to say contradict. I just say like there's a conclusion in 2, and Red Door continues the story that was ended in 2. So it feels like you wasted that conclusion.
I get you. Okay, I'm picking up what you're laying at. That's the only thing I wanted to ask.
It is a different perspective, because there's a memory thing where they wipe both the memories. So you're like, and there's a lot of like, once again, previously on this, because us as the audience, we remember, but the characters don't remember in the story. Right. So it's kind of hashing back.
Yeah, I've seen Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind before.
Hey, what?
No one else seen this, or did JPO see it? Because I know you watch new releases.
No, I just one of those I haven't gotten to, but I did just double check. I've seen all of them, but the one that you like the most. So I will
So
get
wait,
to
you
it
saw
sooner or
Last
later.
Key, but you didn't see 3? You skipped 3 to go to 4?
Yeah.
Because of theaters? Is that the only reason?
I think it was just because I just happened to be out, and I was like, oh, this is a newer release. So
So
Yeah.
without going into it, 3 is a prequel to
3 is a
Shake.
prequel. I thought 4
Yeah.
was a prequel.
It's like a double thing. It's they're their
Okay.
own storyline essentially. So 1 and 2
She's-
is their own storyline.
They kill her in 2, right, Lin Shaye?
Yeah,
Spoilers.
Sorry.
it is what it is. If anyone here was, it's not Dial of Destiny. We're not spoiling Dial of Destiny or Dead Reckoning, but we will.
It's a B character that's been dead for 3 movies.
Yeah.
Is what we're saying.
That's fair. It's fair. Okay.
But
God
she
damn
doesn't
it.
appear in this movie, but I'll leave it at that. Guess how? Force Ghost. All right, so yeah, Insidious, solid 3-star movie. I was okay with that. Back over to Jay. Do you have any more?
I do actually. We've got Gay/Trans the movie. It's called Nimona. It is it's a Netflix movie. Starring Riz Ahmed and fucking Chloe Grace Moretz.
How you spell it? I was kind of
Yeah, that's actually exactly how you spell it.
Told you, spelling bee. Soldiers? No.
Spelling bee. I
You
can't
good.
spell soldiers, but I can spell a fake fucking word.
Facts.
Yeah, face me on Malcolm X spelling bee.
This was
It's movie trivia spelling bee, by the way.
this was Blue
Yeah,
Sky
evidently.
Studios' last movie that they were working on before Blue Sky got swallowed up by the Disney umbrella and then was finished by Annapurna.
What is a major thing for Blue Sky? Because I know I've seen that at
Rio.
Okay.
The Rio movies is like the biggest thing that Blue Sky Studios is.
What's a
known
Rio
for.
movie?
The Rio movie about the birds.
Oh, Rio. I heard Rio. And I'm like, who's
No,
Rio?
no,
Okay.
Rio. No, not Ria as in
Yeah.
diarrhea.
Also, just
but
that's one of the
Rio.
last ASAP.
Hey, I was gonna ask if I can hear that later, but anyways,
2 questions you'll
no-
get right now.
Hey, let's go. I remember one of
Guaranteed.
the answers. That being said, no, this movie, bro. Okay, this movie's 2.5 hours long.
Yikes.
I did not expect it to be a 2.5 hour long movie. This movie is 2 hours and 45 minutes long. The movie ends at 2:28 with like all of the fucking animators being listed with a
For the
little
record,
bit
Ice
of a,
Age is bigger than Rio. I'm just saying. I'm looking up the studio right now. It's bigger.
Oh,
than-
was Ice Age
Yeah.
Blue Sky?
yeah.
I didn't know Ice Age was Blue Sky. I always thought they were DreamWorks or some shit.
20th century / Blue Sky. So yeah, it's all
Okay.
one of those. Yeah. But go ahead. I'm sorry. I just
No, you're good. You're good.
By the way,
Like,
Spies in the Sky is one I didn't watch, and that's another one.
oh, I actually
And the-
really did like Spies
And the
Skies.
Peanuts movie. Wow, that's actually an interesting studio.
Yo, for real. But no, Nimona is essentially the story of maybe this is the reason why I like it so much. It's the story of a dude who was given a chance as a kid to become a knight of the realm, and knights always come from a wealthy family.
Yeah.
The knight voiced by Riz Ahmed throughout this wasn't. And then some shit happens. He becomes a disgraced knight and goes on the run, gets teamed up with this girl voiced by Chloe Grace Moretz, who happens to be a shapeshifter. And chaos ensues. They become
The
a
animation
little.
looked good.
The animation's phenomenal in this
I'm looking at
movie.
the trailer right now. I've never seen it. I like this.
The animation in this movie is fucking fire. I hadn't seen anything but a trailer for it, and I was like, Tato, I want to watch this movie. Are you down to fucking watch this movie? And Tato was like, fuck yeah, bud. So we got high and we just fucking watched this movie, and it was a jolly good time, man. Legit, like Beck Bennett has a punchable face.
I've seen this poster on Letterboxd. I've seen people.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, it's definitely coded for like a certain like it's definitely transcoded. Riz Ahmed, it's not a spoiler. Riz Ahmed plays a gay character in the movie, with one of the guys from the Try Guys videos, Eugene from the Try Guys. Heartwarming. I loved this movie. The music in this movie is fucking fire. Just the look of this film. It's like futuristic meets old timey fucking like fantasy realm. So it's like if you took Blade Runner and turned it like Knights and Dungeons and Dragons type shit, this is that's essentially the aesthetic and vibe you would get from it, and it works so well. It's so much fun. This is an easy 4-star movie for me. The movie got me tearing up, bro. I love the fuck out this movie. This is a movie that I would turn on tomorrow. This is a movie I'll turn on later tonight. Fuck.
I like that. Tato, what are your thoughts? You watched it with him?
Yeah, I will very much echo his sentiment there. Love this movie. It's just a fantastic piece. Nimona is such an awesome character and shit. I very much vibe with the aesthetic of the swords against the like the swords and sorcery against the futuristic. It's very Final Fantasy, and that's a franchise that I very much love.
Absolutely.
So that aesthetic is pleasing to me to see, and the animation is just gorgeous. And the story, the tale, obviously, it's a as Jay mentioned, transcoded game. Just very awesome. I love the crap.
Gay question mark? No,
gay
exclamation.
What?
on my medical chart that gets shown to other doctors. So I always ask this question because I feel like if the answer is no, then it undermines the story, which is important. Does the story of the gay trans like storyline, does that feel forced, or does it feel natural within its story? Is it like, are they like forcing a narrative, or is it just work within the story and it showcases properly? Like, I'm a huge fan of Moonlight, so it's like I'll always be like, hey, Moonlight does the LGBTQ community like perfectly because it shows that there's ups and downs, there's valleys, it handles it properly, but at no point do I feel like I'm being lectured to. Does it do it that? Because I feel like, especially in today's era, you need to tell these stories, but you need to tell them right.
I would say no, because the trans underline there isn't like overt. It's actually like it's one of those things. It's an allegory, essentially.
It's clear, but
yeah, it's there, but it's not in your fucking face. Yeah. It's literally a shapeshifter is told that they aren't allowed to be who they are.
Okay.
And when they aren't who they need to be, they feel itchy on the inside, and they need to express who they are. And in the film,
so yeah, like I said, that's the way you do it.
Exactly. And then like that expresses itself in Nimona as a shapeshifter.
Especially in a PG animated film like this, where it's like, you want the narrative to be natural. You want someone to ask questions and then learn after the fact. Versus
you're not gonna have a family from the fucking deep south be like, oh, this is my kid's favorite movie. But
they might keep the phone from the family, but it might be their family. You never know.
But no, like this movie's a fucking banger, dude. Like legitimately.
It's fucking
I know
hilarious.
you overuse it, but me and Tato were laughing our asses off, and it wasn't because we were stoned the entire time. It didn't hurt, but it definitely like wasn't the only reason. This movie's got heart to it. Plus, I think Riz Ahmed just being allowed to like goof around instead of having to be Bodhi Rook the pilot or some dude who's losing his fucking hearing. Yeah, exactly. Or dude losing his hearing, or somebody who doesn't know how to say fucking symbiote. Like just allowed to just like be a little wacky and zany. Plus, I don't think that like anybody like I know a lot of people really love Chloe Grace Moretz, and I know a lot of people know her as Hit Girl, but like this is the first time I really felt like she was allowed to cut free as a character. And
so it reminds me, so she had a movie, The Misunderstanding of Cameron Post, I think, and that was about,
didn't see it.
Yeah, it was about essentially she gets sent to a gay camp. Yeah, exactly. She gets sent to a gay camp, and I feel like that story overdid the narrative of of what they're trying to say. And like I said, it can be done. I mean, also I think what was that movie that just came out last year? They Them, like it was that horror movie with Kevin Bacon, wasn't that? And I feel like
Black Phone.
Yeah, exactly.
No, They Them.
Yeah, They Them, where it's trying to again tell the same story, and I feel like it undermines what the real important story is. So so I'm glad she gets a second chance to do it again.
It's not ham-fisted. This isn't a ham-fisted attempt to explain any of that. And I think
Blind Spotting is my perfect example of a story that has a narrative, but
I think this is more Blind Spotting than it is any of the other examples that have been brought up.
Moonlight and Blind Spotting are my perfect examples of like, you can tell a story of race, you can tell a story of fuck the police, you can tell a story of
This is a very much fuck the police movie, by the way. It really is. Like it comes down to it, because the Knights of the Realm are essentially the police and shit. There's some fuckery that there's some very much fuckery that happens in this film. But like legitimately, this is a movie that like Dog Soldiers, everybody is not going to like this movie, but the people who watch this movie off of a
Get
recommendation
something out of it.
are going to dig this movie,
Yeah.
even
And
if it's
I'm
not.
adding this to my list. Like before July's over, I'm gonna watch this now for you guys. Like,
I think you'll actually dig the shit out of this. Like, it's not
me
not
and Jason are
necessarily
gonna watch this for next
your.
episode.
I don't think this is necessarily your type of movie, but I think that there's enough in this movie that you'll do the Henry laugh.
Yeah.
So, like, definitely. But JPO's already digging it. He already watched the fucking trailer to it
Yeah.
while we were doing
I
this.
just like the animation style. I like what you said for the story here.
Yeah.
This is only on my radar in like the last like week, and I just whatever reason I didn't.
Yeah,
know
Well,
this
it's
was-
just it
I
just
saw
recently
Netflix
came
review.
out.
Yeah. I mean, Letterboxd reviews that posters sometimes do a good job. All right, so that's both you. Do you have any more JPO that you want to bring up? I still have a few. So what do you got next?
Yeah. Let's talk.
We got
Flawless.
2 weeks to catch up. So yeah, we're
Tata's got to go.
Get in. Yeah, can I get in Stardust here?
Yeah,
Alright,
get it.
I got 10
I
minutes.
forgot. Yeah, I knew
We
we were
both
on a
wanna talk
time.
Robert De
I can't
Niro
remember
movies.
All right, Stardust, Tato.
Yeah, I have a bunch more to get to, but we'll get to them next week. But this one, since it was assigned to me, I'll get to. Madi gave me this one, and I thoroughly enjoyed the flick here. Let me
Good.
get to my notes.
I'll start off by saying I was bored to tears, so I'm glad you liked it because I agree
Oh.
that it doesn't work for everyone. So I'm getting that out of the way now.
Okay.
Here. I
I
didn't
can
like it, so I'm glad you did.
I can see this one not working for you. That makes sense to me, because it does fall a lot into a very generic fantasy aspect. But I thought it was a really sweet fairy tale with heart, and I am 100% here for gay sky pirate daddy Robert De Niro.
Yeah.
Damn it. Yeah, that was just awesome. That's what made this movie worth watching. Without that, this movie is just nothing. Like even though I dig Charlie Cox and fucking that guy being Henry Cavill surprised the shit out of me. I went back and watched the scene. I'm like, that's fucking Henry Cavill. I'm like, I'll fucking buy it, man. Dude can act his face off, I suppose. But I dug Ricky Gervais. He was a good knock. He's always funny. The Orpheus in the Overworld overture fight was great. The fucking dun, 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 but yeah, fucking that shit, that was hilarious. Shout out to makeup artist Joe Budden. That's J.O. Budden. I want to point that out. Yeah, but yeah, no, I had a really good time with this. I'm glad Medea assigned it to me. But yeah, 3.5 or 4 stars. I forgot what I gave it.
There you go. Yeah, so my quick thoughts. I was bored. Me and Pez watched it for when we were doing our ranking show just for Matthew Vaughn's filmography, and it was easily at the bottom for me. It just didn't hit. You know, I'm not really big on fantasy in general, and this one just felt long in the tooth and just didn't really. Michelle Pfeiffer's cool. I remember her. I mean, and you know, all that stuff. Just one didn't hit. Jay and JP, have you both seen it? Just thumbs up, and then I'll go to Jay first if so. Jay, what are your thoughts?
This is one of those really weird movies because it took me multiple watches to actually enjoy the hell out of this film.
Okay.
Not because it didn't have heart, but because some of it was really just hard to follow when I first watched it.
I was lost. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't.
Yeah, I think this movie definitely deserves a rewatch if you haven't seen it in a very long time. But no, like you give me you can call it a generic fantasy all you want, but I think that like the fantasy tropes work in anything as long as you put the heart into them. And this movie definitely has heart in it. And it's really weird to see that I think the next movie that fucking Matthew Vaughn did after this was fucking Kick-Ass.
Yeah, he went from Layer Cake to this to Kick-Ass.
Yeah, I was like, because this is like 07, 08, and then Kick-Ass is 2010.
Yep.
Yeah, so like it's really weird to see him switch genres, and I kind of wish that he would go back to shit like this because it's a good movie. Plus,
I will say I would watch the shit out of a Matthew Vaughn Pirates movie, like Pirates of the Caribbean.
I mean, you essentially got it.
That's what I'm saying. So I would
In
watch
this movie.
Yeah, exactly. So I would watch a legitimate one. JP, what are your thoughts on this?
I really dug this movie more than I thought I would, man. It's one that I've actually wanted to go back to because I do feel like I know you're not alone either, Henry, because that's one of the reasons I kind of just got to it when I got to it, like, you know, several years ago, because I feel like there is like it got like kind of like middling reviews to a degree, but I feel like also the more I've at least talked like in the community or just with friends and family, like I do feel like it's found love in the last few years as well here. So I don't know just timing wise or what, but yeah, I really dug it, man. I think there's a lot of charm to it here. I think Daredevil's great. Yeah, I think I've asked it on,
that Cox. I know
ASAT a couple times because a lot of people go, "Oh yeah, that's right, he's the
Clocks.
lead in that."
exactly.
So yeah, no, like I said, I think there's a lot of charm to it. And maybe, and like you said, fantasy. I'm not necessarily jumping to fantasy, but in this case, I thought it really worked.
I feel you. Taylor, you have a little more time. We'll go ahead and knock one more out.
All right, fuck it. I will go to Doobie Doobie Doobie.
Don't do that one. Do the other one.
Anyway, you fucking fuck.
Love you, buddy.
I'll go out on a note. Fucking,
note.
it's Morbin time.
Get the fuck out of here! Stop. No.
I finally got to Morbius, and I thought about it the same as everyone else did. This was not good. It's just there's very little fun to this movie. I will say Matt Smith.
I guess you won't say.
No, you literally could have just ended it with "I'll say this, Matt Smith."
Matt Smith is really good because he always is, regardless of the whatever seems to be happening around him. But yeah, I just this movie did not jive with me.
Why? I'm genuinely curious. I'm just what about it didn't work?
Jared Leto.
Yeah, Jared, no, I didn't really dig Jared Leto's performance. The story didn't really make sense for me. I didn't get the whole anti-hero thing. I don't often get hung up on like the comics thing, but like this one works even less to me than Venom. And I think the Venom movies are fine. Tom Hardy really does a lot of work in those ones. But Jared Leto does not do the same amount of work to redeem this one. And yeah, just like I think Morbius could be so much better, so much more interesting of a character. I've seen him portrayed in comics and other spider media much better.
JP, what are your thoughts on Morbius?
Why are you high on it, Henry? Is that why
Not
you're
high, but
surprised?
I'm positive.
No, I'm maybe in the middle of you two, but I'm definitely in the slightly negative territory here. It's just kind of a sloppy movie, man. Like it's not. The story is not focused. It's not edited. Tyrese Gibson character just like that. You can tell that's not really fleshed out or it's chopped.
And JPO and I are comedian and movie dick riders, so even Al Madrigal doesn't save this.
Yeah, no, and even his character also feels kind of underdeveloped. Not that it should have been more developed, but like a lot of it just seems like they don't really know what they're doing. Michael Keaton seems wasted. He seems like he's just like I think he even joked on Fallon, like, I don't know what I'm doing. I just show up and I say my
that
lines.
One that makes no fucking sense.
He's
in the
there
continuity.
to put him in the fucking trailer. Like that's why he's there. You know what I mean? So people go, oh shit, I'm slightly more interested. Here's my money. Keaton's in this. So yeah, I just you know what I mean? Like I think there's moments in it. I like the character. I never thought we'd see a Morbius movie. Like we're really getting to the nitty gritty here. We got Craven coming out, so like that's kind of cool on paper, but. Here's hoping Craven's a little more focused.
Okay. Jay, what about you?
We literally could have cast anybody else in the role of Morbius, in the role of Michael Morbius than Jared Leto, and it would have been a better fucking movie. I don't like Jared Leto as an actor. I don't think that he brings anything of note to the fucking character. If anything, he made me wish that the movie was over fucking sooner. The only thing of note that this movie actually has going for it is Matt Smith, and I think that's because I love Matt Smith from Doctor Who, and it's just really weird to see one of your heroes as like a fucking cripple who will do anything to not be a fucking cripple anymore. And then you have Morbius who's like, no, I have the ability to help you, but I'm not gonna allow anybody else to be a part of this. Bitch, Blade exists in your universe. Dracula exists in your universe. There are already other people. You could help your best friend out and you won't do it because you're a selfish little cunt. Also, you're a pedophile. That's not Michael Morbius. That's just Jared Leto, because Jared Leto's a method actor and he's only he's only being a method actor for the day that he can play a fucking pedophile. Yeah, you're a weird dude, bro. Fucking stop.
All right, I'm going to zoop out on that note. I think it's a fantastic moment. I love all you guys. I'll hook up with you and the back half of the night, I'm sure.
Everybody, good luck.
All right. Later, buddy. Yeah, so my quick thoughts on Morbius is I watched it when it came out, so I'll admit that I don't have like the deepest memories because it's been a year and a half now, but I'll just read my review. The style is awesome. felt like the most live action comic book we've ever gotten. I like how Michael doesn't want to be a villain, but his hunger makes it hard. Matt Smith is great. This was a lot of fun. I like the post credit scene. I think everyone was crazy, per usual. Monkey see, monkey do with movies. So, yeah, I will admit you can tell
It's bad though because I don't think we're ever gonna get a follow up to it though, which is also why, like, maybe in retrospect, you know.
Thank God we're never going to get a follow up to it.
But I also don't feel like they necessarily had faith that they ever would follow up on it. I really do feel like they did it just to do it.
Well, you could tell also the way it was shot. You could tell it was definitely after the fact. So I'll even admit that. Who liked the most post credit scene? All right. Now we can talk Flawless.
Yeah, has anyone heard of this movie?
Never. Run it.
All right, so this is a movie where Robert De Niro's character in Stardust would have been hated by this character because this is Robert De Niro is a police officer who suffers a stroke and takes singing lessons with his drag queen neighbor in Philip Seymour Hoffman. That's the premise, and and it's just one of those, you know,
it's an
kind
old
of,
movie.
99.
Yeah, it's 1999. Yeah, this is just one of those I vaguely have seen
Joel
the poster
Schumacher, I
of, like,
recall.
huh?
Joel Schumacher, written director.
Yeah, interesting.
Well,
Because I don't think
one
I
more we
even
can talk about after this.
I even pieced that together till the end that I was like, oh, it's a Schumacher film because obviously I don't know. I go to like action in my mind when I think of him, and
Yeah.
there's action elements to this here. There's a whole
Fat
little
nipples?
and nipples heist element as well, and who stole the money, and there's gangsters after people as well here. But I think the core center is the focus of this relationship. You know, he starts off, he's very homophobic. He's just that old school New Yorker who just, you know, doesn't like his neighbors, dropping the F word at one point, and then you know, slowly develops a relationship. And the relationship's not overdone. He doesn't turn overnight, which is kind of what I liked about it. Like even at the, like, the end of the movie, he still kind of like has his problems.
Well, it's a
Like,
love relationship. It's not a friendship. Like it's an actual relationship.
No, it's a friendship. No, friendship.
So is it like Philadelphia?
That's what I'm saying. Like he doesn't turn like he's not all of a sudden just like, oh, I love gays. Like, you know what I mean? Like he's still like has shitty thoughts and, like, you know, thoughts, you know.
Was it like Philadelphia in that regard of just like, you know,
a little bit? Yeah. That's kind of a decent enough comparison of, like, you know, Denzel's kind of struggles with it here and there.
Yeah.
And, like, you know, again, if it wasn't for the fact that this dude was literally, he has trouble moving because he has the stroke. And you know, he wouldn't even probably do this, but the fact that the guy's next door and he can actually get there easily is the only reason he does it initially.
Yeah.
Hoffman's really good here. Great performance by Hoffman. He really kind of puts everything into it here. And like I said, there's enough of an action element into it where it kind of picks up at the end too, in kind of an action way. But also I like just the core center of these two characters. So I liked it enough.
Is this feel repetitive to Awakenings? Because I know it's something with him not being able to walk with De Niro.
Maybe performance wise, but other than that, no, it's different enough. You know, Awakenings is more, you know, Robin Williams and him hoping and didn't kind of like, you know, I always say like Awakenings kind of like, you know, like Alzheimer's, where it's, you know, there's that really heartbreaking moment where De Niro knows he's deteriorating. So like that's kind of different. This is him trying to get better and, you know, developing this relationship with Hoffman. And there's also kind of remind me of a School of Rock too, in the sense that there's like a long credit sequence. Like they actually go over the credits where like they're going back and forth, like, you know, singing, which is quite nice. That's the School of Rock comparison.
I respect that. I'm going to go next. I'm actually going to talk about the one I watched today, Frank.
Oh, that was you.
Yeah.
I saw somebody watch it.
Donald Gleason and Michael Fassbender, where they're in the band. He's got the big head.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's Frank. And
that's what everyone knows this movie as. This is the movie with a fucking big head.
Yeah, literally. So going into this movie, I'll start with the negatives. Not enough music, and by not enough music, not like any good music. Like it's literally no good music in this entire movie. Like the band, it's kind of the point of what they're going for in terms of like they're kind of building, they're finding their voice, and they're like, you know, whatever. But at no point does it like hit to where it gets good. So like I'm a big fan of movies about music. So the fact that I didn't hit that, it bummed me out. It has a good attempt at a message for covering mental health and how they're dealing with Frank's mental illness. But I feel like it's shoved in at the end, so it's part of the climax. But I feel like that part doesn't build up to it, so you don't really have it doesn't feel like a payoff. It just feels like a third act plot, not a twist, but like a plot just now in the storyline that just didn't feel like it didn't have enough development. But Donald Gleason's great. Michael Fassbender's great. There's times where you can tell it's his voice under the head, and there's times where you can't. So I don't know if that's a good thing or bad thing. I honestly don't know, Maggie Gyllenhaal's in this, and you know she's a cunt, and that was a lot of fun watching that one scene where she's you know got the bathing suit on, so didn't know she had that, so good for her. Katie Holmes also in The Gift, so I know that she was like, I need to compete somehow, and I'm alive still. But yeah, Frank was a overall fun time. I don't know if I would watch it again like tomorrow, but I do definitely feel like I would want to watch it again, and depending on my mood, maybe it could change. It's never going to be a favorite, but I feel like it could go up.
Group watch.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if you guys never seen it, I would be down to see if
I've seen it. I've seen it.
I'll see if the friendship stuff influences. But yeah, so 3-star movie. JP, what about you?
I'm pretty much on board with you, actually, verbatim on this one here. Yeah, 3, maybe push it to 3.5 because I do feel some stuff is slightly underdeveloped. But I think it was a fun enough, quirky ride. I really like Gleason a lot. I think he shines as either a co-star or, in this case, the leading man. And it was always interesting too. You know, for a large part, you are very kind of wrapped up in the span and Fassbender. Wonder if he'll ever take off the goddamn head. So yeah, like I said, I had a good enough quirky time. But yeah, like you said, there's some things that just I know it was maybe a little underused and like it didn't fulfill me totally in the end. But I had a good enough quirky trip.
Yeah, it felt like how when you were describing Dog Soldier, you're like, I'm invested enough in the end to see how it ends, and that's kind of how it was in Frank.
Yeah.
I was invested enough to get where it ends, and then the ending was just fine. So it like didn't didn't totally hit that. So Jay, I know you with like liking the concept of mental health stuff. I feel like you would get something out of it. I don't know if it would be what you would want like as a whole, but I feel like there's enough there to like warrant a watch. So.
I'll definitely add it to the list.
Yeah.
Like it's intrigued me so far.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's gonna be my type of
like
movie.
The concept's better than the execution, but the execution's good enough that it's not so far off from the concept.
That's fair. That's fair. I'll definitely check it out. You know me.
Yeah,
If I won't watch it next week, I'll add it to the fucking list of 397 movies that you have on your letterbox. I do have one more.
Yeah, let's go. I still technically have 3, so I'm fine.
Okay. Guys, I know everybody loves Tim Honks, but what happens when Tim Honks becomes a fucking asshole, a crotchety motherfucker who ends up deciding that he just wants to cancel himself out of reality? His wife dies. He shuts off everything in his own house and is ready to die, and then his fucking annoying neighbors show up in his fucking life. A Man Called Otto.
Oh,
still haven't seen it.
I didn't piece that together. I like this movie a lot.
I loved this movie. Like it's been a minute since I'd watched it, and I know the movie came out this year, but like I rewatched it recently, and I'm just like, it's been a minute since I've wanted to rewatch a Tom Hanks movie. Like, we get it. I think the last movie that I'd watched Tom Hanks in personally was It's a Wonderful Day in the Neighborhood, the fucking Mr. Rogers movie. And this is a fucking complete 180 because he's a crotchety old cunt in this film versus the absolute ray of sunshine that fucking Fred Rogers was. But I mean, even through everything, even through like him having the most Karen fucking attitude throughout almost the entire film.
Hey, you brown people, I say that because your uniform, not because the color of your skin.
For real. But like, I found myself endearingly loving Tom Hanks's old crotchety character in this movie. And like obviously it's A Man Called Otto. It gets sad right there towards the end. But this is just an absolute fucking, it's a joy of a time, even though like you have a main character in this movie that you're not technically supposed to like, but you end up liking him because he loves kids, and don't take that the wrong way, you fucking QAnon weirdos. But like has a fucking like great relationship with the new neighbors that move in because he doesn't like it when people are being bullies, and I don't like bullies. As a matter of fact, I'm a motherfucker who bullies. It's the only reason that me and Henry team up. It's because I get to bully Henry, and I know Henry can be a bully. What are you talking about? I don't even, just shake your head.
False narrative.
No Diesel's here.
No
Diesel in me.
Yeah. Yo, Diesels, baby. But no, like this was honestly like a movie that I didn't expect to like go in to and be like, oh, this is gonna be one of them things, and it's gonna be just like a fucking normal 3-star movie. At the end of the day, this is a 4-star movie for me. And it's really hard because if you go back and you look at anything that I say about like Tom Hanks movies, a majority of them aren't super high. I think the only movie that I have rated as high as this, if not higher, is The Green Mile when it comes to Tim Hanks.
Are you not counting Toy Story? I'm genuinely curious. Just
I don't like Toy Story. Yeah, okay, that's fine. I already gave you my quote unquote trash takes on fucking Whiplash. What made you think that fucking Toy Story was gonna be able to escape that? Because go back and rewatch Toy Story, bro. That fucking animation does not hold up. Stop. It's
I didn't mean
weird.
just the first one. I meant the franchise as a whole.
No, I understand what you meant. It doesn't make it any better. I've watched a better movie in Toy Story 3. It's called Schindler's List, bro.
Jeez.
Wait, Henry, did you take me off the administrators of this page?
Yeah, 'cause I had to add John.
Because I was just about to remove Jay, but I was like, wait, I don't have the power.
Here, I got one for Jay.
Shut up.
You're wrong. Fuck you.
Shut the fuck up, Donnie.
Yeah, god
This dude
damn
over
it,
here.
Henry.
There's
Shut
like
the
one
fuck up.
good Tom Hanks movie. What the fuck's he talking
I didn't say there was one good Tom Hanks
You
movie.
said it was high as Green Mile, nothing else. Big Private
didn't-
Ryan.
I don't
Toy
like
Story
Saving
3.
Private Ryan. I don't like Toy
Uh,
Story. I don't like. I think the best Toy Story movie is Toy
Catch
Story
Me If You Can?
2.
Toy
don't
Story 2 is my
like-
least favorite.
I don't like Catch Me If You Can.
Uh,
It's not because of Tom Hanks.
Road to Perdition.
Not a good comic book
Lady
movie.
Killers. I'm just kidding. I don't know.
I actually do like the Lady Killers, but it's
God
not a
damn it.
fucking 4.5.
Oh, okay.
All right, so with that,
Nerd, get fucked.
Jesus Christ,
Fuck you.
that's my name. All right, A Man Cut Out. I haven't seen it. JPO, what were your thoughts on it?
Okay, so now to get back on Jay's good side, I agree. I really love this movie. I'm happy that we're talking about it actually because I kind of came out in like that weird like small release December, bigger release January, and I feel like it kind of got underlooked at. I thought it was great, man. You know, as Jay said, he starts out as crotchety, but then you still see the heart that's in there. You know what I mean? Like the fact that, like, you know, when he returns the food or he still is willing to help them like figure out their parking. You know what I mean? Like he's not shut off. He still has a heart. He just unfortunately, I actually kind of thought it reminded me of if anyone's ever seen the Ricky Gervais show Afterlife, which is this similar thing of like their loved one is gone. Like the main person that they were there for to care for is gone, and they're just kind of done with life, unfortunately, at this point here. And things
Also,
come
watch
into them.
Afterlife if you haven't.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like that one's even more sad than this one, but like worth watching. But like this one here, you know what I mean? Like he ends up
This
kind of
movie-
finding.
Is this movie Gran Torino meets Welcome to Marwin? Just of that.
No.
No,
Um,
because Gran
the-
Torino, he
no.
is just an old prick.
There's
he's
no
old.
Welcome to Marwin like esque event in this film.
Okay.
So I for that I'll say no. I mean you can name any movie with a crotchety old fuck in it and be like, is it this plus this? And no. So like Gran Torino, no, because he's not racist in the film.
Right,
Which I
he's
think
just-
is like one of the big things that
A
Clint
dude that's
Eastwood
not going to put
wanted
up with
out of it.
bullshit.
Yeah.
And like and this one, like, and the opposite of some of the movies we mentioned earlier too. Like I thought this movie kind of nailed it in the end too.
Yeah.
Like I really dig how it goes the last like 10 minutes. You know.
That makes
So
me
yeah,
happy.
no, I was really trying with this. This is right outside of my top 10 currently. I've seen over 50, so this is like number 11, number 12.
Oh,
But that's
shit,
still pretty
okay.
good. Like I still do really enjoy it.
But I always forget that this is Mark Forster. I'm a big fan of his movies. Finding Neverland, Stranger in Fiction, Christopher Robin that you talked about earlier. World
This
War Z.
definitely
I
gives
think
this
piece that
definitely
together.
gives big this definitely gives big Stranger Than Fiction vibes for me.
Yeah, I was gonna say like I could see that as the same filmography. I never pieced
Yeah.
that together.
Yeah,
That's cool.
and then
I love
obviously
that. We will.
I like Quantum of Solace, but I know most people don't. But that's really his own real stinker, And then Monsters Ball, which I haven't seen, but that's another one on his guys' filmography.
I've only seen one scene. The monologue by Billy Bob.
Yeah,
Thornton,
yeah.
sicko.
You've seen two scenes.
You've
You've seen three
you've seen
things,
two
but
parts.
only two
Yeah.
scenes.
You've double featured this and Swordfish, but just a total of 5 minutes. I don't know what's going on.
It's weird. It's weird. It's just one continuous loop. One loop.
What's going on with this VHS tape? Why is it running on fumes? Because I keep rewinding. All right, so I'm going to quickly just touch on Dead Reckoning, hoping I can talk about it in full depth later with people who've seen it or whatever. But I really like this movie. It's
I'll
technically-
watch it eventually.
It's technically mid of the franchise, but this
I'll
franchise
have it by
like,
next week.
it's actually like one of the best franchises. So it's like saying that this is behind 5 and 6, and then depending on my mood, tied with 4, which with 7 movies, that's about mid. You know what I mean? So it's like it's mid of the franchise, but that's not a negative by any stretch of imagination. Tom Cruise still has it. Haley Atwell is a standout. I'm excited to see more. And then also, it was actually Pom Clemente. She actually was really fun in this movie. Seeing her outside of Mantis was a blast. Big shout out to her. So the next one I want to touch on is Live by Night. I finally watched it. I finally finished my Ben Affleck directed and my written by Dennis Lehane. So this is a movie that I don't know why. Even back when it first came out, I just didn't have like high hopes for it. I was like, I'm just not really feeling it. The trailers didn't do much for me. And after I watched it, the story is my least favorite part of it. Like I feel like even now, like I watched it last week, I'm like, all right, what is it about? I don't really know. Like I know things that happen. I can remember things that happen in a movie, but like, what is it about? I don't really know. You know what I mean? I know there's a revenge aspect. Sienna Miller's character, which it took me a minute to realize that was her, because she kind of looks like Carey Mulligan in a lot of scenes. It was really interesting. But Ben Affleck's really good. The thing that I will knock is his narration. He just doesn't have a narration voice. So like him narrating a lot of the movie, like the old timey, like, 40s and 50s, like you could tell he was going for that for a director. I just feel like it shouldn't have been him. Like, I feel like if you would have had Chris Cooper narrate or someone else with like more of a narration voice, I feel like that would have been good. Zoe Saldana, it's always fantastic to see her outside of, the characters that she plays, Gamora, and I don't remember her character in Avatar now, and some of the names.
Neytiri.
Yeah, I was like, that's N. But yeah.
Hey yo, pause. Calm down.
I said
Chill
Nikita.
out, bro.
I said Nikita.
Yeah, I'm sure you
What's
didn't.
the other one? Colombiana. That's the one she does. That's like, but yeah.
Yeah,
When
Tata wasn't here, bro. Fucking chill.
But yeah, Heineken's kicking in. I haven't eaten dinner yet, so didn't take long. But yeah, it's the definition of like I probably shouldn't have waited this long to watch it, but I do get technically why I waited this long. It's like right about what I expected, maybe a little above. So yeah, it's definitely the worst of his movies directed and my least favorite Lehane written, but still a solid movie. Have either of you seen it?
Oh, come on, Affleck, come on.
What are your thoughts? Are you
I
on
have
the boat with me, or where are you at?
No, I'm lower than you on this one, man. I could see why this was the one where people started to, they had super faith in him and they kind of lost it a little bit here because I don't know. I was just never engaged by this movie. I saw it the once in theaters when it came out, and like you said, there's moments here that I enjoy, but overall, it's kind of a thumbs down for me, man. Like I was just never that engaged by it. If I remember, I feel like it's also a little too long for me. I don't know.
That's fair. And transitions into another Ben Affleck movie, Air. Fucking banger. Oh my God. I love that movie so much. Jesus Christ. This movie was awesome. I grew up in the Chicagoland area. So obviously I know a lot of the history of Michael Jordan, and he's not a character in the movie. Well, he technically is, but like not like an acting character. It's just more of the story beat. But I'm not a stan of Michael Jordan. Like, I technically am under the belief that like LeBron's better, but that's not a knock on Michael. That's literally not a knock. I'm cool with 1A, 1B with Kobe, all in the tier. I'm cool with all of it. But what I'm saying is I'm probably a bigger fan of LeBron. So with that said, though, the things in this movie that it made me feel, chills, tears. Like I need to edit my reaction. I'm off Thursday, so I'm just going to save it. I'm just going to edit my reaction. But like I am excited because I loved this movie. It was a blast. Jason Bateman's a lot of fun. Ben Affleck and Matt Damon are a lot of fun. Honestly, I didn't really pay attention to the trailers too much. I didn't realize like Matt Damon's the main character. I kind of thought it was like an ensemble and they were like going back and forth. Viola Davis, honestly, not in as much as I thought she would be, but stands out as always. But it's ironic. Probably one of her least performances. She has like one like monologue or dialogue scene where it's like really like, yep, that's Viola Davis. She's a dog. She's a star. But like other than that, like she really doesn't do much. Like if this was like earlier in her career, like, oh wow, she's gonna be someone. But like at this point, you're like, yeah, really? That's kind of late in her career. But yeah, I really had a blast with this. The one guy it's ironic. He's also in Live by Night. He has a cleft lip with a lisp, and when he's talking and like in Live by Night,
He must be an Affleck guy.
yeah. I know, yeah. And in Live by Night, it's really weird because he's like a gangster. And in this movie, he's the guy who designs the shoe, and like it felt endearing, especially when you like hear the behind the scenes facts of that guy and like how all that stuff's real. It was really cool. Yes, and then the number ones are in fact one of the best shoes of all time. So I will give you that. So yes, Air, immediate 5 stars because it made me feel the things in feel, and I know it's going to be watchable. Like this movie was a bang.
Oh, he's in Dogma and Jersey Girl too, actually.
Yeah. So yeah, I noticed that. I was like, that's weird. It's just kind of random, and I was like, it has to be like his buddy because this guy is not a looker.
Probably hit it off in Dogma.
Yeah. JPO, thoughts on Air?
Dude, fuck yeah. I love this movie, man. I'm a big fan of just great dialogue, ensemble cast, and they nail it. Plus, like, I've also become a really big fan of just like negotiation movies. You know what I mean? Like this or Draft Day or whatever, where it's just about, obviously you know the outcome, but it was also kind of fascinating to know. Like, I'm a 90s kid, so I had no idea. I always just thought fucking Nike ruled the world. So it's also kind of fun to see like where they were at that point,
Yeah,
they
behind Converse, behind Reebok, behind
Yeah.
the Adidas, you know what I mean? That's weird.
Yeah, then they were going purposely for like the B-level people because they're like, no, we don't got money. We're trying to do multiple B-level people instead of the
Initially,
A-lister.
they didn't want to go Jordan because they knew he was going to go third in the draft, or if he went third in the draft. They're like, no shot, we can't get him. Yeah, that's cool. That stuff's cool.
Yeah, no, and the dialogue is great here. I thought Chris Messina, I loved him. Everyone's good in this, man. Fun to see Marlon Wayans, Jay Moore. Glad to see he's still acting. So yeah, no, I really did this movie. This is my top 5 of the year currently.
Yeah, it's my number 3 or 4. Like it's right behind.
It's my 3. So if it's 3,
yeah,
we're on the
it's
same
right
page.
behind Scream and Across Spider-Verse. So I think it's my 3. As
Oh,
well.
behind Scream. Wow, you're high on that.
I love Scream 6. Jay, what are on?
I haven't
Okay.
seen Air. I have not seen Air.
Okay, well, I'm glad we didn't
it's-
spoil it because it's.
No.
Yeah, I'm glad. I do.
It's on my
genuinely
list, though.
curious on your thoughts.
It's on my list though. Like I watched. I think I watched the trailer that everybody else watched, which made me
I
kind
will
of
feel
feel
the
like
trailer makes it feel like it's trying to be too cool, whereas the movie isn't trying to be cool.
okay.
So the trailers do it justice for like.
Is it
casual?
more of like a Tetris
I haven't seen
versus?
Tetris. It's got a Moneyball vibe where it's like it's about
Okay.
It's about
Yeah,
the thing.
But I
Tetris
didn't
is-
like Moneyball.
Tetris has like then maybe you won't like this, but like I thought this had more life than Moneyball. This is a little funnier and more life,
Okay.
so maybe you will.
Okay,
Tetris has, like,
'cause
weird
I'm
action
pretty
elements, too,
sure.
so there's
I'm
none of
pretty
that in
sure
here.
I've only seen the scene in this, which was in the trailer, where they're like, "We'll offer you this," and I can only assume that it's Michael Jordan because I assume the movie was about Michael Jordan and not about anybody the fuck else.
He's not even in it. Like either him or even the character.
Now I
at
don't
the
even
back
want
of
to
his
fucking
head.
watch it, bro.
No, that's the
He's
point.
in
though.
it
They're
all
not-
the
they're not-
time.
They're not trying
I'm
to.
not
use
watching it no more.
They're not trying to use the gimmick, and I read a trivia after. They're like the reason he didn't want to put Jordan as a character is one of two things: is one,
Oh.
no one can be Jordan. That's just
Absolutely.
realistic. No one can be Jordan, and
That's
two,
fair.
it would be distracting from
Exactly.
the story
No
that
one
they're
could
trying
be
to tell
Jordan.
of the shoe versus the person. They didn't want to make it it's not a Jordan.
That's fair. So
biopic,
is
it's
this
a shoe
the
biopic.
story? Is this the story of the shoe
Of the
itself
shoe.
and not okay?
Yeah.
It
Okay.
is-
Yeah,
That-
no, this is them. Yeah, this is
This
the
is-
shoe.
this is a
yeah.
I
biopic.
don't watch trailers.
No,
So like,
this
yeah,
is a
yeah.
biopic of the Air Ones. Like the Air Ones,
Okay,
this is the
okay.
biopic of the ones. Only.
As a motherfucker who
But you
only
need
really
Jordan
likes
to
the
tell that
Air
story.
Ones,
Yeah.
so like I get it.
So yeah, that's my last one for the day. Jay, what is your next one? And 5, like I said, 5 stars. What was your rating, JPO?
4. Let me see here. Yeah, I give it 4.
Damn, it sounds
I'm
like
picking-
a minimum 4.5. That's crazy. I think on
I'll change it right now.
No, I don't want to force your hand, but I just felt like the way you sound now. There's times where you'll
I
talk
know.
about
I'm
movies,
picky,
like,
man.
I know there's times when you've raved and said nothing but positives, and like Yoki sucked it off, and then you're like 2 stars. You know, it's like no, don't do that. Jay, what is your final movie?
Change my life.
Yeah.
2.5.
My final movie is one of those movies that like I think everybody watched at one point in time, but forgot that they watched. But I did watch it with Tato, and it stars Evangeline Lilly and a fucking huge jacked man. Came out in like 2012, 2013. It's Rocky. I mean Rock'em Sock'em Robots.
Okay.
It is Real Steel.
Yeah, so I haven't seen
It is Real Steel. Talk about a movie that has a whole bunch of heart and like with a character, like a main character in Hugh Jackman that you absolutely shouldn't like, but has the charisma and is just Hugh Jackman, and you end up fucking liking the guy. Like
real Henry, like I'm a real boy.
I'm a real boy.
I thought it was a gimmick where it was real still like that. I was kind
No, I
of.
can definitely see why. I literally double checked just to make sure I didn't fuck up and think wrong.
But like this movie,
I don't like it. It's ugly. It doesn't fit. It doesn't. Look
this
good.
movie cracks me up, especially when like we're living in 2023, knowing that this movie came out in like 2012, 2013. And this movie takes place in 2020, so this movie takes place 3 years in the past.
That's some
and
bullshit, bro.
that's some shit, bro. But like boxers are still a thing, okay? But like we don't have AI people for none of it. But that
is
whole
this Pacific Rim meets iRobot, or like what are we
essentially,
talking about?
essentially, but like also meets Rock'em Sock'em Robots,
Well,
which
literally.
is yeah, literally. But like that's the
This is the
weird
Ninja
thing.
Turtles of Rock'em Sock'em Robots. Like they're real.
They're real, but like it's
Deal.
really weird because there's still a lot of heart to be found in this film because it's literally a training dummy robot that has a shadow box feature where like it can fucking mimic the moves of an individual who's on the outside of the ring, and they end up taking on the world champ. So like there's very much a Rocky element to this movie and a Rock'em Sock'em Robot element to this movie, and in the span of 2 hours, like Hugh Jackman realizes the importance of family, realizes that he actually wants his kid in his life, and doesn't chase the glory days. It's just this is one of them really weird films that I don't think like a lot of people gave a chance to. Because it seemed like a gimmick movie, and even rewatching it after a decade, it still kind of seems like a gimmick movie, but gets you right in the fucking like, especially if you're one of those cats who loves like a Rocky movie. This is that type of movie for you.
This is one I don't remember what came up recently, but it came up. What I don't remember where. I don't some list or some. I was like underrated things, and this came up, and like they were singing the praises of it, and I was like, really? You know what I mean? And I feel like that was like the second time I've heard it in like a year of someone like, yo, go back. Like it's actually a lot better than you think. And it's ironically, I've always mixed this up with Chappie. Not like plot wise, just like they came out around the same time.
Jackman and Robots.
Yeah. So I'm
Jackman
just,
and Robots.
Yeah, in my mind, I'm just like, which one's the good one? Or which one's weird? Which one did
I mean,
Philip
Chappie's
Longchamp ruin his
definitely
career?
weird. Chappie's definitely weird. And this movie is not
Chappie's
like
weird.
this movie is
In a
not
great way,
without
me
its
too.
own weird, but like what I found weird was Falcon sitting there and like literally yanking a motherfucker up out of a essentially
Sean
UFC
Levy
fight.
directed this. I knew it had a director.
Sean Levy did direct this
I
movie.
knew it had a
Yes.
director to it.
Night Museum, dude.
Yeah, Night at the Museum. Sean
Free
Levy,
guy,
yes.
yes. Free guy.
Oh,
At
yeah.
the Adam Project.
Yeah, the Adam Project. But no,
that's
this movie's full of heart. And me and Tato watched this movie as well, so he's unfortunately not here to
What were
talk
his
about
general
it.
thoughts? Was he as positive? Or?
He liked it. He watched it because he had a debate coming up, and he was like, "It was this and this, and we needed to pitch a sequel to a movie." And I was like, "Oh, bro, you chose this movie and you haven't seen it. Let's go ahead and watch this." This is Rocky. This is legitimately just Rocky with a robot instead of a human being.
Rockbot.
Rockbot.
You talking about the robot from Rocky 4 that got cut out in the
Johnny Five is alive, baby.
Right. All right, so
But
yeah,
no.
this is another one that it's on my list, and now that you've sing its praises, I'm definitely gonna add a little higher. I'll prioritize.
It's definitely like a 3.5 star. 3.5 star. Like this one of the movies that like fucking-
Dracula though, where it's like it does what it's trying to do.
Yes, exactly.
Untold,
Like
yeah.
Dracula Untold. Even though I know you didn't want to watch it, but I'm so glad that you did.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And another
No,
reason,
no,
the point of the show.
I'll back that up a little bit too. Like yeah, this movie it kind of hits it on every level. Like the family stuff works. It's funny at points. The fights, you know what I mean? Like yeah, it's right in that 3.5. Yeah, I recommend it. I don't think you're putting it on your top 10 list.
Hi,
I think you'll
Jax.
definitely have a good time. What up, dog?
He heard Real Steel and was like, "What up? Run it, Rock'em Sock'em Robots."
yeah,
All right, JPO, send us home. You had one more.
baby.
Alrighty, so I've seen a couple more. I can either talk about a really shitty movie,
Talk
really
about 'em
sad
all, dog.
movie, or a good movie. Well, no, we'll end on a good one. Although probably no one's seen it.
So
either.
let's talk about the really sad one.
Maybe.
No, we'll end on a good one. Although it is a little bit sad too. So we'll end on Still, the Michael J. Fox documentary. that's currently on Apple. So first thing I'll say too is like whoever edited this, fucking great job. Like they took their time because it's almost edited like a film. Like they'll say something and they'll find a clip that like matches it like perfectly, almost as if like you're watching a young Michael J. Fox go through it. Like the ways they God damn it. Hey, that scene from Curb is in this movie.
Yeah.
So did you shake it? Parkinson's. So,
You did that on purpose, you motherfucker.
so this movie it's edited greatly here. It's very much to there's not a lot of talking heads, which I think I kind of actually appreciate.
When was like the documentary aspect? I just want to get a mindset of like when the live people were talking. When did they? Was it like last year or was it old before?
Yeah, no,
COVID?
it's got to be recent. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it's definitely the last like year or two. I don't know how long, but it's definitely recent for sure. Yeah, and there's not a lot of talking heads either, which I think I kind of like. Like, there's not a lot of like, we're not interviewing Leah Thompson, we're not interviewing Christopher Lloyd, we're not interviewing, you know what I mean, Peter Jackson. It's very much him. You see a little bit of him in therapy. You meet his wife, you know what I mean, his kids. So like, it very much is just him telling his story, you know what I mean, archival clips. But like I said, it's edited supremely well here. Some, you know, and obviously you'll learn stuff. At least I didn't know, you know what I mean. He battled alcoholism at one point. He hid the Parkinson's for, you know, over 6 years trying to hide it. And you can see great clips of that too. Like even especially on Spin City, that first like season or two, like you can see like he's always holding
Andy
something
Dick.
in his left hand, like a phone, or like he's doing something with a pillow. Like you tell like he's what he's going through in retrospect here. So really well made here. I thought it kind of just ended was my only thing. It was very much one of those ends where it's like, oh shit, credits. Oh, okay, we're done. All right, cool. But yeah, and it is a little bit heartbreaking too. You know what I mean? You know, throughout the documentary, like you'll come back to him and he'll be like, yeah, I broke my hand because I fell. Yeah, I got stitches in my face because I fell. Like, there's a lot of sadness, a lot of hope too, though. The stuff between him and his wife, who he met on Family Ties, which I had no idea. She's a love interest on Family Ties, which is kind of cool. That's who he ended up with.
Yeah,
it's still with to this day. You know what I mean? When he gets the Parkinson's, she says still it's innocent in health. So that's kind of really sweet as well. So yeah, I thought it was really well made. Like I said, the editing is kind of, I think, the star of the show in a way.
I'm curious to see just who directed it, to see if like some, you know, sometimes a famous director might direct something. Jay, is this something that has ever been on your radar? Just curious.
No, and you know what? I do love me some Michael J. Fox.
Yeah.
I mean, he was Milo from Atlantis.
Homeward Bound.
Atlantis, The Lost Empire.
I've
always
Homeward Bound, yeah.
Yeah, and he is Chance. No, not Chance.
Maybe
Shadow in Homeward Bound. I don't think I'd ever really watch this outside of out of morbid curiosity. I know that the man suffers from Parkinson's, and I know like that's essentially like the big portion of this.
Yeah.
And it's like watching one of those. It's like watching one of those people from your childhood suffer a debilitating disease. Unfortunately,
like I don't know if I would watch the Val Kilmer one because of that.
Exactly. It's why I won't watch the Val Kilmer one. And it's not because I don't respect him. It's not because I don't love him as an actor. It's just that's a childhood hero of yours, and you hold them in such a high esteem that you don't want to see them in a weak and a vulnerable point.
I feel like for me personally that it has to be like someone like my top 5 of all time to like suffer through it, or else I don't want to, because like there's enough good, but not like over the moon good that it's like my heart can overcome. That's, you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like in my mind, I'm like, Marty McFly. Like I'm a Michael J. Fox fan, just in the sense of like I love the Back to the Future movies.
Yeah.
I love just his random appearances here and there, but like for the most part, like that's really it. You know what I mean? Like I like him for what I like him in, but I don't.
I loved him in Boston Legal, which is one of those shows that I don't think like everybody watched when it came out in like the 2000s, but like I really liked him. I really liked him there, and I loved him in Scrubs. When I
never watched Scrubs. I didn't know he was in that.
Yeah, he's in like a season of Scrubs. But he's only in like half the season, and I think it's like season 4, season 5, and he has OCD, and like it gives him an excuse to be constantly doing something with his hands. And it's like knowing that he's suffering from it, suffering from Parkinson's is one of those. Really
I like
weird-
writing that into the story too, because it feels natural,
Yeah.
and you're not taking work away from someone who's struggling with something.
Exactly. Like I know.
And he's still talented.
I know he's
yeah,
in
man.
Curb. I know he's in Curb.
Yeah,
Obviously.
and that's for comedic effect, and you could tell that had
Yeah.
to be years after, to where you could accept the fact that now we can joke about it.
Exactly. You know, I've written the shaky
And
cast question.
Respect for being able to joke about it. Like I just
Absolutely,
literally respect.
absolutely. Like, I mean, you know me, I've written the shaky cast question.
Yeah.
Talking about Teen Wolf.
Mhm.
Like I love Michael J. Fox. I think the dude
If he
hasn't
didn't,
really
if he didn't
done
joke about it,
anything
I
bad.
wouldn't joke about it. I do respect him enough that I'm in on the joke
Absolutely.
with him.
If he was like, hey, I don't appreciate everybody making these jokes, but you know, he's in on the joke and he's never really tried to take it too
And
seriously.
he's also
He knows
never
that
the
it's
butt of the
serious.
joke. It's more of
Exactly.
it feels like a joke versus making fun of or attacking.
Exactly. So like
you were
that's
gone for a second, JPO. Have you seen the Val doc?
No, I heard everything though. Yeah, no, I haven't seen that one. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like one of those bummers where it's like, dude,
But I think Val Kilmer has.
I
more
don't
to
think
do
this
with
one
my
will be too much though. I mean, he's still
than
living.
him.
He's still smiling and laughing at the end and stuff like that, and with
Yeah.
his family. So like, I think this is maybe a little different. So
yeah, I mean, kind of like what Jay said a couple weeks ago, talking about the Stan Lee one, where it's just like that in retrospect, where you're like memories now, and it's like, oh, that's a bummer. So
yeah,
yeah,
I do got to head out though, gentlemen.
no, we're all done. That's wrapping it up. Make sure you check out everything, Jay. If anyone's watching at this point, you know, on the rewatch, you're a true one. This is more just for us at this point. But JPO, shout out you, ASAT everything, and then I want JPO real quick, stick around for this outro that I made. Well, it's an intro outro, but it wasn't uploaded for the outro. So my name's Henry Confidential. That is Jay. That is him. Stay subscribed. We'll be out.
That's pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, bitches.